Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Star Wars Perspective podcast. And if you're new here, I'm your host, Max. And what I do is I find people from all across the Star Wars fandom to basically come onto the podcast and tell their Star Wars story. And today I have on Rex Skyfighter. How you doing, man?
Hi. Hello there. I'm doing fine. How are you?
General Kenobi.
Yeah.
So usually the first question I ask everybody is, what got you into Star Wars?
Okay, now that's an interesting question. Because I was born in the 2020s. In the 2000s. I'm sorry.
No worries.
I didn't grow up with the original trilogy, so for me it wasn't the original thing that got many people into Star Wars. However, what I know is that my father is a huge Star Wars fan. And that basically got me into it because I don't remember the first time I saw Star Wars. I was a baby. I know that I went to see Revenge of the Sith on the theater, but I simply don't remember. I just know I went because I know that happened, but I simply don't remember that. And apparently some of that got stuck into my mind, and that's what got me into it. My earlier memories in general from my childhood is me sparing with the toy lightsabers with my father and getting my fingers hurt because, you know, when the blade hit you in the hilt, and that hurt a lot. Yes.
Okay, cool, man. What would be your favorite thing about Star Wars if you had to pick one thing?
My favorite thing now. Okay, that's a hard question.
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure.
I don't know. I'm kind of split between what is it to be a Mandalorian and with the Titan armor and all that awesomeness that it implies.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's between that and the concept of the Force, because I think that's cool. You know, aside from having a higher mental state, all the powers that come with it sound kind of cool. So probably a tie between these two, but tilting a little bit more to the Force concept.
All right, right on. Well, for those who don't know, you have an awesome set of Mandalorian armor that's kind of mixed with the theme of Jurassic Park. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, yes. Aside from being a huge Star Wars fan, I am also a huge dinosaur and prehistoric fan. So I used to have a lot more dinosaurs and Star Wars stuff when I was younger. So I was always a dinosaur nerd, and as I grew up, there was also this thing from Jurassic Park. Then recently in 2015, you got Jurassic World. Then the other movie that was Fallen Kingdom. Somewhere about those times, I heard the news that there was this game called Jurassic Park Builder that shut down in early 2020. And I really loved the game. I grew up with that game, many years playing it. And that kind of made me feel a little bit sad. And I was like, oh, why did it shut down? So I got the idea of, okay, let's make something that doesn't shut down. So I went to see all the material you can find on the internet about the game, and recreated the cages and the enclosures you see in the game in 3D, then printed them to kind of make in the same style that you see Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, okay, yeah, so like kind of like a diorama or something like that.
Yes, precisely a diorama, because I was okay. Let's start a new hobby. Then I found out that all the resin and polystyrene is not precisely cheap. They go, okay, let's keep it as a 3D file for now. And by those years in early 2020, you still had The Mandalorian playing on Disney Plus, and there also was this craze of, oh, I want to make the shiny Boba Fett helmet, and I was okay, I want to make one of those, and that's how it went. I had my Mandalorian armor, but then everyone else had one as well. Like, you could, if there was a con at that year, because most were cancelled, you could see probably 100 people using that set of armor, and I was like, okay, that's cool, awesome, but I want something that makes me different as well. And because I had that little train of Jurassic Park as well, I was, oh, let's mix them both. So I had this file for a Mandalorian helmet. I put it into Mesh Mixer and spent about 60 hours of work into sculpting every single scale on it, because I wanted to make something that kind of joined my two hobbies, my two fandoms into one. And I was like, okay, I think this kind of checks out. So again, I spent all the time sculpting it, then printed it, and I was okay. I can make it to look like a crocodile or like an actual dinosaur, or I can make it slightly more obvious by painting it in the classic Jeep style. You know, the Jeeps from Jurassic Park, the ones that are the yellow with green and red.
Oh yeah, those are great.
Yes. Yeah, because that's probably what many people can recognize instantly from the franchise. That can say, oh, that's a dinosaur movie. And I was, okay, I kind of like that, and it looks cool. And that's how it went. And thankfully for me, in the sequel from this game, Jurassic Park Builder, which is Jurassic World the game, one of the dinosaurs is a velociraptor with the exact same color scheme from the Jeeps. And because it also has the scales in the same way I made my helmet, it was very much the entire Quizlet for an exam for me, because it was just how the paint could be, and like, oh, I will just copy that into the helmet and we'll do it fine. And my original idea was only to make the helmet, but then I also had the original armor I had for my previous Mandalorian helmet. And because it wasn't finished, I simply spray silver over the raw print. It was okay. Let's finish this one once for all. And I ran out of paint, so everything in every color it has is just the last bit of spray paint I had left. However, I managed to finish one clone trooper arm, just the single arm, and that's where I used the Jurassic Park sheen, because I painted the Tyrannosaurus logo on the shoulder and then continued the helmet style into the rest of the arm. And that's what basically the entire Jurassic Park section of my armor. The rest was painted in whatever color I liked, because I thought, okay, this looks pretty enough. I think we're going to be cool with it. Yes.
Nice. Yeah, I think I see it like peeking out like right underneath your mic back there. I think I see your helmet in the background.
Oh yes, it's right there.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yes.
So did you use I was looking, what did you use for the visor? I noticed it's not like a standard like a lot of people use like motorcycle shields. What did you use for yours?
Oh, I don't know how it's called. You know, these window protection things. These are the metallic mosquito nets.
Oh,
I don't know the name. Yeah, because I was like, okay, because it was pandemic time. All of the windshields and stuff was sold out in every store, and everyone was using that for face masks, and I simply could not get to find them anywhere. And I was like, okay, I need something cheaper, because I remember one single sheet from the safety mask was probably worth $40 in a store I found. It was okay, that's worth more than my entire helmet. I don't think I'm going to go with that.
Right.
So I found that because I was also looking to find a solution for the fog that you get inside the helmet. And you know, there is also I cannot breathe inside this. I'm running out of air. So I found this, and I thought that was kind of cool, because for me it looks kind of like the front section of a car. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, it was just interesting. I didn't like when I was looking at your Instagram. I was like, oh wow, he must have done something different compared to like the standard the visor, but that makes sense. Yeah.
I think that was kind of an interesting concept, because it was the first time I tried something that wasn't just plexiglass or acrylic or something like that, and it worked because it covers enough, and it allows you to breathe fine, to get enough ventilation, and also to see clearly, because as you are very close to the mesh, you can see perfect outside of the helmet. It doesn't really blurs your vision.
Right on, man. Right on. Well, this is probably going to be the longest question I ask you. Starting from the Phantom Menace to the Rise of Skywalker, can you go through each movie and name like one thing that was like really special to you from each movie.
Okay. Yes, I absolutely can do that. Yes. Okay, so the journey begins at the Phantom Menace. Now, I know this isn't precisely the fan favorite movie, but for me it kinda is because I was born 3 years later than the movie came out. However, I grew up very much with it because one of my favorite parts, one of the parts that I remember I played the most, as I got it on DVD because it was a lot different than the VHS that were by that time.
Right.
I really liked the scene where you got Anakin as well as the other Naboo pilots taking off from the hangar, where you got all the N1 starfighters taking off with the music in the background and the separatist tanks shooting. I don't know. That's some scene that I like a lot. For some reason, I really don't know why. I simply know that I like it. That's one of the things that got to me the most, and I really love the Naboo starfighters. I think they look very clean, very sharp. The shiny metallic look on them. I just love them.
Yeah, I bet you were stoked when you were seeing the Book of Boba when they brought it back for Mando.
Yes. I in that part of Boba Fett, I remember seeing those two propellers under the sheet, and I thought that was pod racer, and I thought that was a nice touch, like a callback to Anakin. Then they unveiled it, and I was, oh wow, is that more special instead? Yeah. That was a nice thing to see. I never thought they could bring back, especially that ship, because it was something from an instant, and that's it. It was nice to see it in Boba Fett.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And after that Battle of Naboo scene, I think the pod racing scene, all of that sequence, that's something I really like. Because I was never introduced to the concept of NASCAR and the F1, all of that racing stuff from real world. That was very much everything I knew about races. I remember one time I went to a race of... I don't remember what kind of cars they were. I just remember they were cars. And I was disappointed because I thought you would have something like Anakin and Sebulba on the court, and no, so it's not like that. Because I really loved that scene. I recently found out that many people do not like that it was too long, but for me it was too short because I was expecting to see the entire race or something more. But I really like that part as well. I don't know, probably the sound that you get from the motors and all of that.
Oh yeah, that scene's great, yes. Man. The pod racing is... I'm kind of with you on that one. I wish it was longer too. I wish we would have seen almost like the whole race. Yes. I'd watch a TV show or a movie just on a pod racing scene, and yes. If they were maybe the pod racing underworld or something like that, I'd watch that TV show.
Yes. I could really like to see that sometime. So it's an interesting concept to explore in the future.
Definitely.
Yes, and of course, probably the fan favorite from the movie, Darth Maul.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes. Again, as I grew up with that, and being a kid, I had no idea how special, how awesome was to have Darth Maul with his double lightsaber in that scene.
Oh yeah. Never seen before,
Yes. I didn't know how cool it was to see that introduced because, I don't think I even assimilated how special Star Wars was back in then. But I really love, the contrast in his skin from red to black, with how he doesn't really have a changing expression. It's the same face all over again and again. But it's probably just the look in his eyes when he just slightly turns his head up, then his eyes with the yellow coming from them, with the music from the maestro John Williams. That's something that just makes it epic.
Oh yeah,
and
Duel of Fates.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, this is my cat.
Yeah, he's a little cutie. I keep saw him pop up just like a little. He pop up just a little bit and then pop back down. Little cutie.
Yes. Yes, he wants to eat the mic, and no, I don't want him to eat the mic.
He's like, come on, let me play with it.
Yes.
All right. Well, that was a good one for Phantom Menace. I guess next we got Attack of the Clones. What are your favorites for Attack of the Clones?
Okay, my favorites. Before my favorites, I think I have to start with one thing that I didn't like first. Probably because I didn't understand. It's all the Senate sequences from the original trilogy. I mean, from the prequels. Because you're a kid, you have no idea what politics are, and you have no idea about politicians and all of that stuff. And I didn't know what a trade blockade was. I didn't know anything of that. So
right.
For me, it was just seeing these people speaking about stuff. I had no idea what they're talking about. That part didn't get into me as much first. Then I grew up and I realized that part was very, very relevant to the plot to kind of explain how everything works in the Star Wars universe and how much it resembles our real world. That's something that didn't grow up on me as much. Probably because of politics, but now I can appreciate how important is the role that it plays to the overall story of Star Wars.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I think, when you're a kid, you kind of just want to see like action, explosions, and lightsabers. Like when they talk about I remember kind of because I saw episode 2. I want to say I was in like third or fourth grade or something like that when I saw it, and honestly, I was kind of in the same boat you were. Like the first chunk of the movie was kind of boring for me, and then I realized now I can appreciate it more. But basically when Obi-Wan goes to Kamino, I think that's when the movie kind of started picking up for me, and I was like, oh man, you got Jango Fett, you got clones, you got it just kind of increases from there. And as a kid, that's kind of what you want to see, so I can totally resonate with that for sure.
Yes. I mean, I didn't understand what they were talking about in the first half of the movie with the Senate. So, because you didn't see that much of lightsabers and explosions and ships and all of that. But now I see how cool it was, that they built their own politics system for that. And
I definitely think it's necessary too. As boring as it might have been, it definitely builds the world a lot more and kind of leads into episode 3. All these politics and stuff like that really show the downfall of the Republic and the Jedi and stuff like that. So I think it is definitely important for sure.
Yes, and then we moved from this first half of the movie to all of the Camino parts, and it starts kind of introducing what could be a reference to the Empire. You see the entire clone army. You have this same person many times in white stormtrooper armor, to say something. And I think that was some sort of callback before you had the entire lore of Star Wars from the prequels to the original trilogy. Then you also have this interesting blue and silver Boba Fett. I don't know why it's blue, but then you find out that there is much more than just Boba Fett in terms of what Mandalorian was back in then, because his armor was cool, and I don't know how to say it, but I really love his cowboy style. That's what I call it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, his blasters is kind of sci-fi revolvers, man. Those things were sick, and then the chrome really popped with it.
Yes, and then we also see jetpacks for the first time in Star Wars.
Yeah, we do. I didn't even think about that. Really, he was kind of the first. Because you kind of see it with I like the fact that you get Boba Fett from the original trilogies, and his jetpack's kind of clunky. His jetpack's not very good, and then you see Jango, which is jetpacks is a lot. It's a lot better.
He actually uses it in a useful way. Because I remember that Boba just use it to jump once and then fall into the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
Yes, and then we see Django doing something cool with it, flying and somehow taking 10 Jedi at once and showing what Mandalorians used to be if you go back in time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes. Yes, and one thing that I really love is the battle arena. Probably because of the score, or probably because I thought that those things were dinosaurs, maybe.
Definitely, yeah. They definitely have some
this.
dinosaur features for sure.
Yes. Seeing all of that with the music, I really love this piece of Across the Stars.
Oh yeah, it's a great score.
Yeah. Yeah, being a kid, you don't really understand what love is or why are they kissing. You just look away because, yeah,
because cooties. You got the cooties.
yes. But one thing I really, I didn't like or understand the thing of Anakin and Padme. Of course, until now, I was that's they were in love. I didn't know that.
Right. Yeah, when you're a kid, it kind of goes over your head for sure.
Yes. I simply didn't understand that Anakin was hitting on Padme since the Phantom Menace, but then I realized, yes, that's what he meant. Yes, but yeah. I know that I really love Across the Stars since the beginning, since I saw it. For some reason, I just thought it was a fluid piece of music or something that was kind of smooth and felt like kind of love represented in a sci-fi way without feeling too from the outer space or something like that. And then you move from the battle arena sequence. You have all of the Jedi fighting in there. I think that was cool to see all of those lightsabers igniting at once. That was something unique to see, because you go from having just the two Jedis in the original trilogy, then you have the Jedi Council in Phantom Menace, but don't really do anything. Then you have all of the power of the Jedi Council in one movie. Of course, half of it disappears, but doesn't matter. It gets replaced later.
Right, for sure.
Yeah, yes. I mean, I really love all of that sequence, because then you have the attack of the clones. The actual attack of the clones when you get them in the gunships. I love the sound that the motor does for some reason. I don't know why, but that really gets into my mind. It has been talked since I was probably 5 or 6 years old, but I really love that sound.
Yeah. The Star Wars sounds really in general. I mean, you have like Django's like seismic charge that he drops when Obi-Wan's, the gunships and all that. Like there's a lot of really cool. Star Wars really nails those sounds for sure.
Yes. And one of the coolest part about it is that many are just practical effects. For example, the blast from the real trilogy are just simply a guy with a hammer hitting a metallic string.
Yes. Yeah, I watched that. There's like the documentary, and he goes over like all the sounds and crazy stuff that he did for those sounds, and it was pretty cool.
Yes. Yeah, I really love those sounds from the... again, from those gunships, just the weird noise they make as they fly. And I think that was probably the only time we get to see these weird bubble things at the sides of the ship with the mini Death Star ray.
Yeah, those are sick.
Yeah, I was expecting to see them use more of that concept, but probably it was expensive to produce. I don't know, but I really love that. And that's what I thought the military was back in then. And I realized, we don't have flying ship. We don't even have flying stuff like that. We don't have lasers.
Not yet. Not yet. Maybe in the future, but not yet.
Yeah. That's what I thought that soldiers were. That's what I imagined some countries from different continents were, something like that. And I goes, that's how they are in that country. No, it's a movie. Okay, it's not true either. Yes, and I really love that part. And later you have this deal with Count Dooku and all of that stuff. But one thing that I didn't appreciate before, it was the barrel that you have from the entire separatist army against the clones, where you have all of these vehicles and the droids against the clones, and you have these clones with different colors that tells the rank. I didn't understand that after a few years ago when I finished the Clone Wars, the series, and I went to revisit the movies, and I was, oh, there is an ATTA. I thought that was introduced from the 2008 movie. I never noticed that, and then I also saw the Hellfire droids, and that's a concept I really love, because that's something that's actually possible in our world. Aside from how expensive it can be, that's something that is absolutely possible. I had a state on that had to be delayed because of budget. I found out that servos are not that cheap. Then also you have the wheels, and even if you 3D print by yourself the rest of the carcass, you still have to pay for all the electronics. And I was, okay, let's make a crossbow. That's probably cheaper.
For sure. Yes. Yeah, no, it's a really cool. I was always sad because I thought that was one of the coolest scenes, and it might be 20-30 seconds of the battle between the Republic and the Separatists. But yeah, I agree. I always thought that was really cool. The droids have a lot of cool machinery, and then also the Republic have a lot of cool stuff as well.
Yes. I really love those Hellfires, and when you see them firing the rocket with the purple background or whatever
they
have,
the mist or whatever.
Yes, and then you see how one single missile destroys the ATTE. That's that's cool. That's impressive. That's awesome. And probably I think that the Hellfire only have 12 seconds of screen before getting destroyed by the Republic gunships, and I was that was it. I was expecting to see more. It's kind of sad because we never get to see them again in any Star Wars media, from movies or series or anything. I know that they got back from the game of Star Wars Commander as part of the Rebel forces, but that was it. We never get to see them again, and I wanted to see them again. I was expecting to see them in Clone Wars Season 7 or the Bad Batch, but it never happened.
Who knows? Maybe we'll get more. Hopefully, we get more Clone Wars content. I used to always play them in when I played Battlefront. I always used to hop in those. Those were so much fun to drive around in Battlefront.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, the original, not the new ones that are out. They've been out the past couple of years. The old Battlefronts.
The original ones.
Yeah. Those are always fun.
Yeah, I have never owned a console, so I miss a lot of Star Wars content from that side. But probably the only other game from Star Wars that I have played is Clone Wars Adventures. I don't know if you're familiar.
Yeah. I haven't played it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yes. I thought that game was popular, but I think it was overshadowed by Battlefront because probably that was more user-friendly or something like that, because of the platforms that it has, that it wasn't exclusive to a computer. However, this game was in the same style of a first-person shooter and all of that, with tons of mini-games. You have probably 12 planets or 7, I don't really tell. But you can explore. You have probably the main planets you can see on the Clone Wars, and you could also customize your character with different trooper armor or Jedi robes or citizens. Could drop a vehicle. I know you could buy an ATTE, but that was probably maybe only 10 players around the world had them, because that was very expensive, and honestly nobody wanted to pay that much real world money for one of those.
Right.
Yes. And those 10, probably 9 played since the beginning, and that other one was probably someone who had a lot of money to spend. And I really never get to see one of those myself in the game, but I knew they existed because of YouTube.
Right, for sure.
And one of the mini games, I don't really tell, but I cannot really tell the name because I honestly don't remember. It's been 8 years since the game shut down. But you could choose between the Separatist Army or the Republic Army, and you had to create these troops and transports and heroes. And in the Separatist Army, one of the transports was the Hellfire droid. Was it was cool to see because I always wanted to play Separatist as the bad guy, just to have those things in the battlefield and seeing them doing something. It was what I really wanted to do, honestly, just to see them again once more because I love how fast they are with the true wheels, and then you have the missiles on top firing all at once. That was something I really love about these things. Yes.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. So that I guess that would conclude episode 2. What do you have for episode 3?
Oh, can I say everything?
Yeah, literally everything. Hey, I'm for it, man. I might be a little biased, but you can see I got a giant Revenge of the Sith poster in the background. So I completely agree with you, man. From the battles to the emotion to just everything. I mean, I think that's to me that's peak Star Wars for sure.
Yes, even the score, all the soundtrack hits different and feels more epic somehow that
Definitely.
All the other stuff that you have, and also the composition that you have when you analyze it as a movie itself. You had a lot of imagery that is different that also made you hitting the feelings somehow. But that movie is amazing from the beginning. You have the opening crawl titles, and then you have nothing instead of opening on a planet as usual or with a battle. You have just the stars, and then you hear the drums beating.
It's like dun dun dun
yes.
dun. Yeah, that intro is sick.
And then the camera scrolls down slowly with the beating in the background, and then boom, suddenly goes from 0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah,
With all of that massive battle. I think that's probably before. I mean, second to the battle of the Force Awakens. No, the Rise of Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
I think that had the second largest number of items in one single battle.
Are you talking about it like at the end when they bring all the ships in at the end?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
For sure.
I think before episode 9, this opening battle was the one with most items or ships at once.
Yeah, I definitely had a lot. Both scenes had a lot going on for sure.
Yes, and I really love that it has a lot of details that you cannot see unless you play 1/4 of the screen at 0.25, because you have a lot of things. You don't have just the ship static firing at the same position without nothing happening. You have even these fighters as well.
Yeah, for sure. I used to have I was so sad I accidentally I lost it in storage, but I forget what the it's like AC like 170 or something like that, the clone ships that are behind Anakin and Obi-Wan. I used to have that. I had that toy that was like this big, but I lost it. Our storage flooded and I lost all my stuff. All the stuff got destroyed, unfortunately. But I had that ship, and it was the coolest thing, man.
Yes, those are very cool. I remember that I always thought that those were X-wings.
Yeah, they kind of look like it.
Yes, and that was kind of setting what you would get from A New Hope, I think, in a way. Of course, I was 3 years old when that movie came out, and I always thought that I was very sure that those were X-Wings. Then I see the Clone Wars and see Revenge of the Sith again. Oh, those are nothing X-Wings.
All right. I think they're kind of inspired by it, though. I think they definitely have some of the design from that for sure.
Yes, even the coloring is the same. You have white and red. It very much resembles the Rebel.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes, it was absolutely inspired by the X-Wings. I actually saw one of those in Marketplace recently. I think this week, but it was $300, and I go, okay.
Nah.
No, I can live without it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think they were back then. I want to say they were 100 to 150. I want to say that's what it was in the stores. So 300. I mean, I know it's you can't get those anymore in the store, but man, that's a lot. That's a lot of money. It's the same with I had that one, and I had the Millennium Falcon, and you cannot find a Millennium Falcon for under $300 anywhere on eBay or anything.
I know that those things brand new go for 4 digits easily.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. You could buy a small car with one of those. To be honest.
Yeah, no kidding, no kidding. I'm eventually gonna 3D print. I have like a tinier one that I 3D printed. I'd grab it, but it's actually like behind me. But it might be about this size.
Yes.
But I want to print like a giant one. It's one of my things that I've planned to print.
I have one speaker that came with a Star Wars computer a while ago. Oh, in 2015 when The Force Awakens came out. It was a special edition. It is this speaker thing. I don't know if...
Oh, that's cool.
Yes. It's supposed to play the opening title theme, but it doesn't. I mean, apparently there was a reason that the computer was on sale, and the quality is not really, but it's kind of one of those things because you have makes a sound.
Nice. Sorry, my light just like fell.
Oh yeah.
Sorry about that. But no, that's cool. That's cool though that it did like at least at one point play the music. That's pretty cool.
Yes. I think that's the biggest Millennium Falcon I have because even at small scale, it's a very expensive piece because of how iconic it is.
Right, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a classic. So you like the intro scene.
Yes.
And I know you said the rest of it. Are there any other iconic pieces that really stick out to you in the movie?
Well, for me, the Battle of Utapau.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yes. I think that scene was probably one of my favorite because of the giant Iwana Obi-Wan rides.
Oh yeah, I think they're called Varactals. I think that's how you say it.
Oh yes. I always struggle to remember the entire Star Wars fauna names for some reason, because it doesn't match anything we have in real world. I don't have anything to associate it with.
Right, for sure.
Yes, I kind of struggle with that, but I really love that. Even the sound it makes when it's not a roar because it's not. Yeah, what.
Yeah, I can't imitate. It's like or something like that. It's kind of like a chirp, but like a bellowing chirp or something like that.
Yes. Whatever sound it makes, I really love how it sounded because it was unique. It was different, and I was expecting some sort of hissing when I saw it at first. Then, that sounds cool. Yes, I really love that in the Utapau scene because of how much I love dinosaurs. You have this documentary called Walking with Dinosaurs. You have a pterosaur called Ornithochirus that looks exactly very much like those flying reptiles you see in Utapau, that are very much in the background only, and that these citizens of there, or however you call them, have. You have this long beak with some sort of decoration at the tip of it, and I was, those are from the documentary, and I, as a kid, I didn't have the concept of what a franchise is, and I simply assumed that this was straight away from the Walking with Dinosaurs documentary. Yes, I didn't know that there were two different things that had nothing to do with anything, but I really love that scene because of how much it reminded me, and I didn't appreciate how cool it was to see Grievous in that scene.
Oh yeah. I mean that whole thing it was definitely one of my favorites too. I really liked the I believe the clones are the 212th. I think that's Obi-Wan's division. Yes. And the orange man really I have like 3 or 4 of those clones, like the little 6-inch figures from my childhood, because I played with those so much. I wanted to get the Obi-Wan riding the Varactyl, and I never did, and I regret it so much. I'm like, man, I could have gotten that. I found them on eBay for about $80, but I'm just like, I'm like, do I 3D print one? Because I could probably find a good 3D. There's some pretty good on Instagram. There's some pretty good miniatures.
Oh yes.
Of them. I've seen some pretty good people do those miniatures.
Yes.
And I was just like, man, I could just scale one of those up or create it myself because I can digitally sculpt. But I haven't decided yet. But yeah, those are sweet for sure.
Yeah, the funny thing is that if we sculpt one, it can have a lot more detail, a lot more quality than the one you get from Hasbro as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can make it more the joints.
Articulated?
That's the word I was looking for. I was like trying to find us like articulated. That's the word. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, that's something that I find quite some of like a dilemma for me, because I want those toys you get from Hasbro, but I also know that I can 3D print one with better quality, a lot more details. But part of me knows that this is not the Hasbro. I want the Hasbro one.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's what I was talking to an Instagram friend the other day, and like I was like, man, what happened to like the toy aisles? Because I was in Target yesterday, and it just seems like, I mean, like not even with just Star Wars, just across the board, I feel like toys have like gone downhill since the early 2000s. Like I don't know what it is. But like, man, I was there and like I was like, what I find in toy sections now is like it's a whole bunch of cheap Baby Yoda stuff. They have like some little plushies. They're really cheap like lightsabers that you usually play with when you're like 10 or whatever. Yes. And then for some reason, I guess nobody wants the Lando Black Series figures.
Oh yes,
I always find the Lando. It's him and. I'm trying to think of his name from the Quill from the Mandalorian.
Oh,
the Ugnaught that like gets killed in the last episode.
Yes,
it's like them too. I always find their Black Series toys there, and I'm just like, man. I remember being 10, 12, going into like Walmart or Toys R Us, and just being stocked with toys, and I'm just like, what happened?
And the quality and the detailing of them are. They were just superior back then. It's not just nostalgia anymore. It's an actual objective thing at this point.
Oh yeah.
Because I remember a lot of. I have some of the toys from the. I think it was 2011 Hasbro from that until 2013. I think is where they peaked, because you have. It's the same mold for all the clones. However, you have a lot of different paints from them. Basically everything you see in the Clone Wars and in the movies, as well as many things from Legends in the clones. It's the same mold, same articulation from everyone, but you have a huge variety. And even the articulation points, you have the head, you have one in the chest, the shoulder, the elbow, the hand, and you have all of that. And I remember that when Black Series was introduced, it was some higher quality than that. And now Black Series is what you used to buy normally back in then. And now your regular series is just sometimes not even the head, just the arms and the legs, and that's it.
Yeah, I really wonder if it's because of the scalpers. I mean, the scalpers are getting like ridiculous, like more and more ridiculous as like time goes on. And there was a new Cad Bane figure that like just came out. I think it was like last week. Yes. And literally, like, it was later that day. Like, it released in the morning, and I didn't realize it. And, like, literally, I checked, like, I think it, like, released around, like, 7, 8 in the morning. And I checked around, like, 2 or 3, and they were already sold out. Like, instantly.
Yes.
And it's just, like, I guarantee you, if I were to go on, like, like, eBay or, like, Facebook Marketplace or something like that, they're selling them for, like, I think the Black Series are like $30, $25, somewhere up in there.
So somewhere about that, yes.
And they're selling them for like $40, $50, $60, sometimes even $70. And I'm just like, guys, like, but I do like the Star Wars community is kind of, I'm not really like, I don't like people when people bully people. But in this scenario, I'll make an exception. Because like the Star Wars fans, I feel like have definitely started bullying these scalpers like pretty hard. Being like,
nobody likes them.
Well, it's just like they think they're entrepreneurs, but they just end up like they end up hurting people like you and me who like are like really actually fans and want a figure, And like for me, like I don't buy figures all the time. But there's like specific figures sometimes that I want that I can't get. But I wonder if that's kind of hindered like the quality and how they make toys, because I guess at the end of the day they're still making money, but it's like fans are getting upset because they can't, they're not producing them at the scale that they used to because of probably COVID and things like that. But who knows, I guess.
And the problem with scalpers is that they still make them get profit for it, and they know that they will sell anyway, so they know, okay, we can reduce quality, the people will buy it anyway. And the problem with scalpers is that sometimes the people, as the fan base, will not really buy that, but they buy all of their stock. They resell it to people outside of the fan base. They still make money, and they can reduce quality again and again. And it happens. It's a cycle that is not going to end unless the scalpers slow down. I remember when I love Nerf blasters. There was this.
Oh, I couldn't tell by your background.
Yeah, yes, yeah, yeah. It probably wasn't that evident, but I kinda like Nerf blasters. Yeah, yeah. There was this Mandalorian pulse rifle from Hasbro.
Yeah. I pre-ordered that. I don't know when it's gonna come in. It's been delayed like 50 times, but maybe one day I'll get it.
I remember when that came out because I heard from the Star Wars community and from the Nerf Blaster community, and there was this thing. I think it was from GameStop originally released it. I don't know. However, I remember I clicked the link 43 minutes after it was announced, and it was already sold out. And it wasn't precisely cheap because it was, I think, $129.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And for what you're getting, it's not really that good. It's very much from as a collective, to be honest.
Yeah, that's why I got it. I wanna get it, and I'm gonna make it look like the actual gun. Like I'm gonna take it and airbrush it and things like that to make it make it look less like a Nerf gun and more like the actual Mando Blaster.
Yeah. I mean, as a Nerf gun, is useless, to be honest. I mean, it's not really that good. It doesn't fire even that great. But it's basically an already finished prop piece. You just gotta paint it, and it already has a lot of detail for what you're getting. And
the box is really cool too. I haven't seen the detail on the box.
Yes.
That's why I was like, man, I'm never throwing that box away.
yes. I mean, that's an actual very special blaster on itself. It's unique, but of course the price is not really accessible for me at this point. And since one thing that got the fan base and the people who bought the original, the first start of it, man, is that Hasbro, I think 1 year later, announced again another delay on the delivery, and at the same time announced the release of a cheaper one with the same mold, same quality, same fighting ranges, everything, but without less colors and in a simpler box. However, the price.
I didn't realize that.
Oh yes, I mean I knew about that because I saw the news that there was a cheaper version. I was, maybe I can buy this one, but then I get to see it was the exact same thing, just a different color scheme, and that one is set to deliver earlier than the original release.
No way. What?
Yes.
That's silly. Yes. That's so silly.
Oh yes. They're doing these kind of moves every now and then, and it doesn't make a lot of people happy.
Yeah, I mean, I bet. I mean, I already spent the money, so I'm like, I can't really, but I can definitely see like, dang man, like especially for the people who like buy it instantly and then it gets delayed. Yes. Like, it was supposed to, for me. I mean, I bought it last March. That's when I bought mine, and then it was supposed to be delivered in November. Then it got delayed to December. And now it's been delayed so much. It's been since till March, and who knows if it's going to be delayed again.
Oh yes.
So
yes. Let's not call out Lego on the Star Wars the Skywalker saga.
Yeah. Hey, no, but I mean that's cool. I like that we can talk about that's the whole thing about this podcast is there's no real there's a little bit of structure, but we can go off on these tangents. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to Revenge of the Sith before we move to A New Hope, or do you just want to move to A New Hope?
Oh well, just one last thing. I'm sorry if I'm making this longer than.
No, hey man, there is no time limits on this. This is your Star Wars story. You get to tell it however you want to. You know.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh well, and the obvious one, Anakin versus Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah.
Yes. All of that sequence, since you get Obi-Wan uniting with Yoda and I forgot the guy. The Carrie Fisher's character. Parrot figure. Bail Organa. I remember. I forgot his name for a while. Since you get reunited them on the Tantip Force, that's something that already. Oh, that one, that thing. You have them, and then you send Padme and Senator Organa to Coruscant, and you see the Emperor as the Emperor for the first time, actually, and not just Darth Sidious or Palpatine. Now it's Emperor Palpatine for the first time.
Yeah.
By removing the Republic and all of that stuff. And at the same time, you have Anakin ending all of the separatists in Mustafar. I think that was very, very dark.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yes. I mean, I think Revenge of the Sith is definitely probably the darkest movie that we have.
Yes, because we see him at the Jedi Temple, but you don't really see him killing anyone in there. But then you see him without mercy on every Sith leader. And that was just way darker. Even his eyes turned yellow in that scene. I think that's where they turned yellow, because I don't remember them during Order 66. And at the same time, I like we get Obi-Wan and Yoda at the temple against the Bible first, and you see Obi-Wan with the classic Jedi style, very much in a defensive way, and Yoda going full Doom against the clone troopers.
Yeah, he didn't care about the clone troopers, not nearly as much as Ahsoka did, at least in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, Ahsoka, she and Rex just stunned all the clones they could. And of course, everyone died in the crash, but they still tried to save them.
Yeah, they did the best they could with what they had,
I mean, it wasn't on them that the cruiser failed. It was...
Maul.
Yes.
Maul being a savage.
Yes. And I think he could be compared somehow to Yoda, throwing his lightsaber at the clone, and then it doesn't end up here. He just crawls on top of him and then removes the lightsaber with so much hatred or something.
Oh yeah, man. He's definitely has no restraints for being a Jedi. He's just like, you're dead to me. You guys are dead. Well, he probably did. Like, honestly, thinking back on it now, because Yoda was so connected with the Force, he probably did have resentment of the clones, because he didn't really realize. Like, I think Ahsoka had more of an understanding because of Maul. Like, Maul knew what was going down, and Maul kind of explained it to her. Whereas Yoda didn't really know why the clones were like turning, at least not initially. So there probably was some resentment in like being like, these guys basically took out my whole order. Like there's no restraint,
Yes, so as far as every Jedi goes, they were all just betrayed for no reason, and that's it. Yeah, I mean, Ahsoka is the only one that basically knew what was going on.
Right.
Yes, of course, and Anakin, but Anakin was already turned evil.
Yeah, he was the one doing it also.
yes. It was his idea up to some point.
Right, for sure. Sure. Well, that was good for episode 3. What do you have for A New Hope?
Oh, well, the Star Wars that started Star Wars.
Yeah, the classics, right?
Yes. Of course, I didn't get to see any of the original trilogy up to Phantom Menace, but
unfortunately.
Yes, but
I've been trying to see them in, because sometimes movies, like now what they've been doing is playing like older movies in the theaters. And I haven't been successful with it, but I want to try to see all the original trilogy. And honestly, Phantom Menace too, because I was born in 95, and Phantom Menace came out in 99, so I was still too young to go see the movie. I think I was only 3 or 4 years old. So if I could see those 4 in the theaters, that's my goal, man. It's one of my bucket lists for sure.
Yes. Did you know that the Phantom Menace screens again in 2011?
Did it really? No, I didn't know that.
I mean, I don't know if it was in every country. However, I went to see it because I wasn't born in then. I think that I went to see the Attack of the Clones, but I was recently born, probably a few months or few weeks earlier than that. And then Revenge of the Sith, I was 3 years old. I had no idea what I was doing in my life back in then. But I did went to see the Phantom Menace in 2011. and it was cool. Of course, I had seen the DVD 1,000 times probably, but it was different to see it in the big screen.
Yeah, there's nothing like seeing Star Wars on the big, like it's like meant to be seen on a. That's why I want, like, one day whenever I get my own home, I want to build like a giant like sound system, surround sound or something like that, and just like blast my eardrums with the sounds of Star Wars.
Yes, and I mean, you have the sequels and the spin-offs that you get to see recently, but because that was my first Star Wars in a theater, I remember how you had all of the scores, all of the soundtrack blasting from all over the place, and you have all of the Duel of Fates sequence was just amazing with the speakers all around the room. That was just something. Yes,
for sure.
Yes, and because it was 2011, there wasn't a lot of people seeing that movie at that point, and it was cool. It was even people. I think there were only my father, me, and probably 3 more guys at the theater at that point. So it was cool because you didn't have all of that crowd.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, you can kind of be. I love it when a movie theater's empty or has like a couple people in it. It's like you like have the whole thing to yourself. You're just like, yes, it's great.
Yes. You're living the full experience.
Oh yeah,
it was amazing. That was my first Star Wars in a theater, and I love that moment. I love.
Heck yeah.
Yes. So let's go back and forth again to New Hope. Well, I mean, that movie, of course, started it all, but I didn't know that it actually came before the prequels. I didn't understand why the lightsabers looked like that in that movie. I simply, because I had these toy lightsabers that just the D batteries. And I thought, they need to change the battery in the lightsaber from Obi-Wan.
That's funny. It's funny. Hey, Obi-Wan, you need to switch on some different power converters to power your lightsaber better.
Yes.
That's funny.
I simply assumed it was because of that. And, I didn't know that was peak cinema back in then. And how revolutionary the movie was. Even outside of Star Wars, how much it changed how sci-fi was in the movie industry because before that you of course had Star Trek, but that was very much peak back in then, and before of that everything was those spaceships that you had hanging on a thread, and that was very much sci-fi. Everything was just outer space, no air, spaceships on our planet Mars. But now you had something that can kind of relate more to, because even through its spaceships and space wizards and all of that technologies, you still kind of feel the characters in a way. You have Luke, someone that wants to get out of his place, wants more than he has because he can give more. He feels like he needs to, and you also have the causes that everyone fights for, and also you have Han with his walking carpet introducing there.
For sure,
I think it really changed the concept of sci-fi. And because of because now it's something that can be with a lot more of effects. It doesn't need all the synthesizer score. It could be with an orchestra, and of course you couldn't have choose a better composer for that. John Williams introducing there.
Dude, he's one of the greatest composers of all time for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember watching the documentary, and George was like, he thought his movie was gonna be like an utter failure until he heard the music, and then he was like, oh man, he's like, the music just like pulled it. It really shows you how powerful music can be for storytelling.
Yes, because those shots without music do not hit the same. Even if you change the music to a different score, it's not the same. It's just like this thing of adding, I need a hero, holding out for a hero to different fight scenes. It changes the aura of that a lot.
For sure.
And that's one of the things that helped this movie, when it was the Star Wars already, to not flop and instead become a legend in the cinema industry. Yes, I mean, I did saw that in the documentary that George Lucas just made the movie expecting it to be just another random project.
Yeah, he thought it was gonna fail. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not from the cast, only Sir Alec Guinness was important, and everyone else was just nobody.
Yeah, nobody's.
Yes, I mean, Harris. Well, of course you have Peter Cushing, but that was different. They were probably doing projects they could star in, and they were the best they could pay probably for that movie. And I mean, of course, the story of how Harrison Ford became Han Solo.
Yeah, yes. He was rating the scripts to people.
Yes, he was just the extra of the extra, and somehow memorized the script. And let's hire this guy already. It's going to save us money. Yes.
So that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yes, and how I really like this concept of how Star Wars introduces a bunch of nobodies every now and then to the trilogies.
Definitely. I think it's like a common theme.
Yes. Of course, you had to use these established actors, and for kind of the leading / secondary role, and your actor out of nowhere from a theater that is in the middle of a town that nobody knows, and then becomes a great star. I think that's something kind of cool, because from the original trio, I think nobody of them really had a career that could take off without Star Wars. At least not if it was great. Right,
for sure. Definitely.
Yes, yeah.
I think Alec Guinness and Peter Cushing were like the only ones who like really had, because they had been around forever. I think those were the only ones. I think Harrison Ford was still, I think he did, because George Lucas did American Graffiti before.
Oh, yes, he was in American Graffiti.
So he did that one, but he was still new. He was still new to the scene too. So yeah, I really like that it kind of does. Like it takes these, because Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor really hadn't been in much before Star Wars, and then same with kind of like Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver and stuff like that. Like they're kind of like they were in stuff, but they were new actors. I think you're right. Star Wars does have this kind of nuance about it where it kind of picks these people that haven't done a whole bunch, and then it just skyrockets them.
Yes. From the sequels, I think the only one, aside from the original cast, that had a slightly longer career was Oscar Isaac, because he actually has been in many mainstream movies. But
right, for sure.
But it's not a trio anymore. I think that at this point you could consider Kylo part of the trio. But they weren't in that great movies that many people could tell, and it really, I just say, skyrocketed their careers.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Yeah. Well, I like too that most of the actors in Star Wars, after they did Star Wars, they didn't do a crazy amount of stuff. Like Harrison Ford did. I know Mark Hamill went into voice acting. I'm not sure what Carrie Fisher did. I know she did a few things, but I don't know exactly what. But I definitely think these newer generations, like I'm seeing Daisy Ridley and a lot more stuff. Oscar Isaac is doing a crazy. He's about to be Moon Knight,
Yes.
Same with Adam Driver. Adam Driver is turning into this phenomenal actor where he like kills basically every role that he's in. He's just a great actor, Yeah,
he got Best Actor nominations for the Oscars.
Oh yeah.
After I think it was from the Marriage Story, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was definitely one of them. He's good, man. He's good.
Yeah, and that also helps you to show how much potential they have, because you see them in the role of Kylo Ren, and that's one thing. And even from Kylo Ren, you can see how good is his acting, because it really tells you that this guy is really pissed off at this stormtrooper for some random reason. And I mean, I don't know, I really like his acting. Some people doesn't. Some people say he carried the trilogy. Some people don't really. Like, you have mixed feelings so far.
Yeah, everybody has their own kind of things. I personally like. He's one of my. I don't know if he's my favorite character from the sequels, but he's definitely like. He's like either my favorite or he's like my second favorite. I mean, I really enjoyed his character.
Yeah, and I think he is very relatable. The part where he just has mental breakdowns because something he failed. That's something that happens to many of us as well.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yes.
So is that all you had for A New Hope, or did you have more to add to A New Hope?
Oh well, let me see if I can rephrase it. Okay, because when I was growing up, I simply did not understand it, and because of the visuals were also different from the prequels. I was like, okay, this movie is different. It feels older, but but I thought that was after episode 3.
Right.
Yes, and then I realized, okay, this is from 1977, and the other thing is from the year I was born. Oh, makes sense now. But yeah, I really love. I think from that movie, my favorite character became Obi-Wan, and I think I went like that for probably 15, 16 years until I found out about clone troopers. And I think my new favorite character are the clone troopers.
Nice.
Oh, yes, because I had toy lights from him, and I was okay. I think I am Obi-Wan now. Oh, I don't know if my mic disconnected.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay. He wants to eat the microphone. I really love that, and when you're a kid, you don't have the concept of life and death. So I did not understand that Obi-Wan died in that scene against Darth Vader, and I did felt that the fight was slow. Even before you had Rogue One, I thought that was slow because I was used to see the Phantom Menace a lot, and then see A New Hope. I was, why are they like that? Of course, I didn't know that old people did not have the same movement that younger people have. You're a kid, you have no idea of how this world works.
Well, hey, maybe they'll explain it in Obi-Wan because they're going to battle again. Maybe that something happens to where they're a little slower or something like that,
Yes. They're going to explain a lot of things as well.
For sure, yeah.
And of course, the death race. All of the trench run. I think the score feels kinda slower, but also keeps you at the edge of your seat.
Yeah, it keeps that tension for sure.
Yes, it is not that fast in the way of epic, but I just say it's just to build up the tension. And probably the first moment you get introduced to the Force, they use the Force look.
Right, yeah, for sure.
Yes, and I had no idea what Luke doing because I only saw that he has the helmet, and I thought that his orange visor was the visor that indicated where he was shooting. I didn't know what was all the periscope thing, and why is he doing it? Why is he doing that? Why is he firing? And I thought that he fired the first shot that missed it, but why is he doing it again? I saw everyone in the same uniform, in the same X-wing. I thought he was every character at the same time. I simply assumed he was very fast or something.
Right.
Yes, and I didn't appreciate a lot of stuff back in then. Now I said, oh, so this is like that. And yes, and last year I started to get a little bit into VFX, and I get to see these guys of Corridor Crew doing the breakdown of all of the trash run.
Right, yeah, they're really cool. I like a lot of their videos.
Yes, and they have this video explaining how they made of all of that composition to make the ships look like if they are in the vacuum of space. I still give you the idea that they are real and not just a 3D model. And George Lucas could have just filmed something in a dark room with enough light to capture the model. But somehow, I really like how much detail they put into all of the post-processing of adding filters, then another filter, then another layer of something, then something else, to give you that idea. And I think that still stands very strong to this day. Because as much of practical effect could be, you cannot achieve that much of detail with a lot of recent movies.
Right, for sure. For sure. So then we got Empire Strikes Back.
All right. Oh, that movie I I think that was the one I played the most from the original trilogy when I was younger because of the hot battle.
Yeah, it comes. It starts off pretty quick. Like it kind of has like the Revenge of the Sith vibe to where it goes from like 0 to 60 super fast.
Yes. And one of the coolest parts is that I had the movie on DVD, and it sounds normal nowadays or probably old, but in 2000s it was the age where it was normal to find VHS on every house.
Right, for sure.
I do have the original trilogy in VHS, and the DVDs I have are the 1997 re-release, the remastering.
Yeah, for sure.
That was very different than having to rewind the entire VHS just to see the hot battle.
Right.
You could just simply click a button and you're there.
Right,
and,
for sure.
I was afraid of the Wampa because that's something that scared me, seeing that.
Yeah, that's what I got. That you can see him like right here. He's like chilling, and Luke's fighting him.
Yes. Yes, that thing that scared me. You have the monster, all of that, and I always feel very afraid when Luke was hanging in the roof. Well, the roof of the cave.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that scared me, and it made me feel even more fear when I saw that he killed the ice kangaroo. The Tauntaun.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, for me, it was just some sort of ram kangaroo thing or something. And then I found out that it actually has a name. Since you see the puppet appearing on screen, you're like, what? That's something that always gave me jump scare. No matter how many times I saw it, I always knew that it was coming, and it always scared me. And that's something that very much made me feel a lot of fear. And then you see Luke pulling the lightsaber out of the ice with the Force. I'm not sure, but I think that was the first time you just see him doing something like that, isn't it? On screen.
Yeah, really like you kind of see him using the Force when he blows up the Death Star in A New Hope, but like he's like really using the Force. Like that's like when you can see him like kind of use it. Yes. So yeah, for sure.
Yes, and one thing about that scene I love is also the behind the scenes of how they made it. They simply had Mark Hamill hanging on his feet and then throwing the lightsaber at the snow and simply play it backwards.
Yeah.
Yes. What I love that they actually had to hang him on his feet.
Yeah, he was just like sitting there chilling upside down.
Yes. And also, I didn't know that the Wampa was an actual suit. The full suit.
Yeah.
Yes. And have you seen the bloopers for all of the hot sequence?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's very funny because they actually filmed in snow.
Oh, really?
Yes, it was actually snow, and I think it was Siberia desert, if I'm not wrong.
You know what? Now that you're saying that, I do remember that they did film, because I remember they said like it was like a really bad snowstorm when they were filming it or something like that. Yeah.
Yes, they had to delay the filming, and of course it was kind of good for the actors on set because I found out that their costumes actually were warm enough to keep them alive in there.
Right, for sure.
Yes, I tried wearing something similar in our real world in summer, and it was an awful experience.
Oh, I bet.
Yes, I thought that was only for looks, but turns out it also has a practical use, and I was okay. I'm not going to try this anymore. I want to go home. But yes, I like that all of that was made in actual snow, and in the blooper sequence from that movie you have. I think there were snowtroopers all just sliding in the ice because they could not stand up, they could not walk, and it's kind of relatable. It's probably more realistic than what we see in the movie because as much as snowproof their suits was, that was going to happen at some point,
Yeah, for sure.
Yes,
for sure.
I mean, I fell on flat ground, so why couldn't they on ice?
Right, yeah, definitely.
Yes, I really love that hot sequence. Probably it was because of the AT-AT.
Because
I really like. I think I used to call it the the ice robots or the ice horses or something like that. Because I think that was the only thing I could relate it to, because I did not find any dinosaur, that looked like that, and also no animal in the world like that. Maybe a dog or something, but I really like that because of the giant ice robots, and you have how they are flying on their snow speeders as well.
Yeah, those snow spears are sick.
Yes, and how they go, I really like the thing, when they use the wire to knock down.
Like wrap the legs. Yeah.
Yes, that was a smart move, and it made a lot of sense, Yes.
Yeah, I did that in the I think it was the 2015 battle for like the newer one. It was an achievement in the 2015 game where you had to, like, in multiplayer, you had to get in one of those and swing around and like make the AT-AT fall. And man, I tried it so many times. I got so frustrated because I couldn't get it. It's like they made it like really tough. Right. But I ended up getting it, and I like flipped out, and I was like, no.
Yeah. That's something I could like do in real life, but I know I will crush if I were that. Yes. I really like that for some reason, probably because of how big these metallic monsters were, or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
I really like the snow speeders, because I think that's the first time you actually get to see, the cockpit of a ship, rather than just the front view of the pilot.
Right.
And I like how you actually have some gunner to shoot the wire.
There's like a co-pilot.
Yes. I mean, that was cool to see for me. And I never realized, in many years, that there were ATSTs in that battle as well.
Yeah. I don't think they're shown for not like really quick. They're, I think, right?
I think they're probably 5 frames or something like that.
Yeah.
As far as I know, they don't play an important role in that scene, but there was, before I moved to where I live right now, there was an arcade. Because arcades, I think they no longer exist, probably. But there was this arcade. You have a lot of video games and stuff. You have the classic, I think, the shooting games. But you have this thing that was probably a full cabin. I don't know, probably 2x2 meters.
I think I know what you're talking about. It's a Star Wars one, right?
Yes, you could put the helmet thing 360.
Yeah. I played that one. Yeah, that was cool.
Yes. And there was this mission where you were in the snow speeder to take down the AT-AT, and I really liked that one. I was probably 6 years old or 5, so my father had to carry me because I could not get to the height of
you're tall enough to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I lowered it the most, and I still probably 2 feet below it. So it was always with my father that I got to be playing that. I know that I always lost on that game because I didn't know how to use buttons and how to use firing or whatever. I didn't even know what was I supposed to be playing, but I just wanted because it was Star Wars.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it was that one, and then there was a pod racer one where you could actually sit down in the pod racer and like turn. Like those were the 2 really big ones.
Yes. Unless I am drunk and I'm confusing it, there was this pod racing game as well. You had this mini Star Wars ISIL, and there was only probably those 2 and a pinball machine. Mm-hmm. But I think I only get on the pod racing once because I instantly crash. I simply I sit, put the coin, spend my money, and simply hold the steering wheel, and I crashed.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough game for sure.
Yes. I don't know what would I do if I get to play it right now, because it's been, I think, 13 years since that happened. But I probably will still crash again. But
every once in a while, you can find them at like Dave and Buster's or something like that, but they're kind of harder to find for sure.
Yeah, and sometimes they have expensive prices to use. Not the regular one, because of how special these are and how expensive it would be to repair them.
Right.
Yes, I think that's probably the part that got to me the most from episode 5. I didn't know how dramatic or how surprising it was, the entire Cloud City battle and all of that. because I already knew that Anakin was Darth Vader and all of that stuff, and I knew that he was Father Luke from the prequels. So for me, it wasn't a surprise as much as the audience probably was in my
watched it back in the day for sure. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, for me, it wasn't that special, and I had no idea that Luke lost his arm. I don't think I ever noticed it, that he got his arm chopped in that scene. Uh, so I didn't know why he had, at the end on the cruiser, you have these little wires and things that.
Yeah, he was like messing with his hand.
Yeah, I have my hand some burn scar right here. I don't know if it shows.
Yeah, I can kind of see it. Yeah.
And I thought that he had the same thing than me. Oh, it was an iron machine that fell into my hand, and I thought that he was the same as me because of that. But I didn't know why I didn't have the stuff inside my arm. I always thought, oh, he's like me, but why I'm not like that? And then I realized, okay, thankfully I'm not like that.
Yeah, you get your whole arm chopped off.
I am. Then I realized, okay, I think he's not it was. As I grew up, I got consciousness. Oh, it's not nice. It's not pretty. I didn't understand how cool it was, and you also had Han Solo in carbonite. All of that.
Boba Fett, all that. Yeah, that's
yes.
sick.
Yes, and of course I had no idea that Boba Fett was in the movies. I don't think I realized that he was in episode 5 back in then until I get to rewatch it, and I know that shit.
Oh yeah, well, it's super quick too. He's not in it for very long.
Yeah, I mean, he plays the important role of being there, but does not contribute that much to the story, at least not in there. But you get to see the guy in the cool armor, and that's something different,
Heck yeah.
And of course, the guy with the ice cream machine.
Oh yeah, he's running through Cloud City with the ice cream machine.
Yeah, I know that in some Comic Cons, depending on which series it or what's happening at the society back in then, you get to see parades of the ice cream machine guy.
Yeah. Every once in a while, you'll see one at a con or something like that for sure.
Yes, yeah, I had this clip. I didn't take it. It's on YouTube. You have probably 30 or 40 people dressed the same as him, all in one line, running all around the con.
That's hilarious.
And that's something just so funny, and you probably once in a lifetime, honestly, because that's not something that's going to happen very often.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so that kind of wraps up episode 5. What about episode 6, Return of the Jedi?
Oh, I think this movie, I liked it probably better than A New Hope. Personally, probably because of all of the Ewoks thing, because of the ATST.
How it gets like smushed by the trees.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was my experiment from junior high. There was this class. I don't really know what, but you have to combine something about written reports from grammatics and some of the sciences, of chemistry, biology, or physics. Mm-hmm. And I chose physics because I saw a thumbnail in YouTube of if it's possible to destroy the ATST as it happened in the series, in the movie. And I didn't know how to use YouTube in that year, so I didn't know that you could actually search for videos in YouTube. Mm-hmm. And because that video was lost, I never get to see it again. I just saw the thumbnail, and that's what got into my mind, seeing one safety truck with 2 wooden pieces at the sides, and I was okay. I want to see if that's possible, and so I made some thing that is lying behind me. It's can you give me 1 second?
Yeah. Take your time.
Look at this. Is this? I saw it earlier today. Is one ATST mini head that I made out of cardboard, and I used C-size batteries as the wooden logs to recreate that experiment. I made some sort of giant mount just so I have the enough pendulum. I mean, I over nerded for this experiment, just so I could do that. I mean, the simplest thing was simply to do water mixture or something, but I wanted to go a little bit extra and recreate this experiment just to show if it was possible or not, because I loved how it was crushed. I thought that was unique, to see something for the first time, something that wasn't a spaceship blow up, something from the Empire. Yeah, I think that was different, so I simply went this piece that I made. I was expecting it to be destroyed, so I built 4. So I had this pendulum, probably was 2 meter tall, with some rope of 1 meter, and I simply let this go, boom, and nothing happened. And I was, that's disappointing. Then I made some little calculations after that, because that simply got into my head. How is that possible? How could it fail? Especially because it was a demonstration in front of my class, and I was, that cannot be. And sure. Then I made some other calculation. Then I find out that it is possible, maybe not that probable, depending on what kind of blinding vehicle has. So, this thing actually can resist a lot more than one entire pack of batteries, so that wasn't really fair for the experiment. But that's one of the things that got to me the most about episode 6, and I decided to recreate that for some reason.
I mean, you got to think those tree trunks that's like hit the
yes.
AT-AT, or no, ATST, right? Or is it?
Yes, ATST.
I mean, easily weigh 1,000 pounds a piece, and there's 2 of them that crush it. At the
yes.
So yeah, I think you're right. I think at that point it would be. Batteries don't weigh as much as a 1,000-pound tree trunk, so
Yes. I mean, the thickness of the cardboard is not proportional to what you have of a wall in an ATST as well. I mean, it's a lot thicker than it could be. So I hate to get my inner geek and my inner nerd together to get this to work, and I decided to recreate that with a small scale model house that I found made out of plastic, because plastic is less resilient than this cardboard, and it actually worked with the same batteries. Okay, so it is possible. Nice. I wish I knew 5 minutes ago. yes, but yes, that's one thing I really like. I mean, I didn't know that there were Hasbro toys about Star Wars by that year. Then I found out that there was this ATST that you get from the vintage collection, the original ones. Okay, I want to buy one of those for my experiment. Okay, $300. No, I don't want to buy one of those. Yes. And then I realized, okay, even if I buy one, there's no way I will destroy it for one experiment.
Yeah, you wouldn't want, especially dropping that amount of money on it. You don't want to destroy it like that.
Yeah, and I didn't know about 3D printing back in then, so I didn't even have one 3D printing near my area, so it was never an option. I want to recreate that somewhere in the future to see how possible it is.
Yeah, that'd be cool for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to do metal printing, just probably changing the material and the orientation. You could recreate something of a similar strength. I still want to revisit this project at some point.
Yeah, you could get weights or something like that too. Maybe something a little heavier and do it. That'd be cool. Do you have anything else for Return of the Jedi before we move on to the sequels?
Well, probably the first part, all of the Tatooine scene.
When they go to Jabba?
Yes.
Nice.
I think that's the first time I get to see Jabba and actually pay attention, because I know that he was in A New Hope. Well, I don't think I ever noticed him. And I am not sure, but I think that the VHS I have still has the human version of him. Oh,
really? That's cool.
Yes. I cannot play them anymore because I don't want to screw them.
Yeah. Those VHS tapes can get kind of wonky too, like the VHS players.
Yes, especially because I haven't played them in a long time. I don't want to mess them, and I am like, I kind of want to see it, but I also don't want to not see it anymore. but yeah, you get to see Jabba there, and because all of that, you also get Chewbacca. You get to see him imprisoned and I didn't know why, because I didn't understand that Han Solo was frozen and couldn't do anything. So it was, where is Han Solo? Where is Han Solo? I was too young to see that he was literally hanging there in the wall as a main friend. Yes. And then you have that Leia was discovered, and I thought that she replaced the original Bounty Hunter. I never knew that she was the Bounty Hunter itself.
Right. Yeah.
And of course, you get to see Boba for the first time doing something more than just
standing.
Yeah. It was very short time, but still was more than just standing, looking cool. As I was a kid, I kind of looked away every time you get to see Leia there in the metal bikini. Was that not good.
Right.
Yes. I knew that many people were obsessed or freak out every time she appeared in her metal bikini, but I didn't know why, and I was no.
For sure, yeah. Because being younger, you gotta get the cuties, you know.
Yes, no. I said, oh no, that's not for me. That's not for my age. Actually, I think that's what that movie has the oldest rate of all the Star Wars movies that we have, if I'm not wrong. I am not really sure, but I thought that was the reason that it wasn't allowed for people under a certain age. Because the Phantom Menace is rated for all family, and this one was restricted. I think the classification is from over 12, if I'm not wrong.
Okay. I don't know off the top of my head.
Then I thought it was because of that, and I always skipped the scene since she gets captured until they fly away.
Right.
because of that, I didn't want to see that back in then. Then I realized, that's it. It wasn't a big deal. Okay, doesn't matter. And of course you get to see Boba there. I don't think I ever appreciated how cool it was to see him. Of course it was cool for a brief time. Now I understand why many people think he was a wasted character. Actually, I wasn't very interested on him, to be honest. Neither in the Mandalorians from the Clone Wars, because they were very politic, and for me they were copies of Boba. And it's the same. I don't really like him because for me, he didn't have that much screen time or that much development in the movies, and comics were too expensive for me to buy. Considering how much you pay for a book and how much you pay for a comic, for me it was, oh no, that's a lot. And I didn't know that he has his own lore, and because of that, I actually wasn't planning to see The Mandalorian when it came out, because I thought that it was a series based on Boba. Until one day at school, my friends knew that I am a huge Star Wars fan. One of them showed me his own. Hey, look, this is Baby Yoda, and he was, that's Baby Yoda? No, there's no way. I have seen all Star Wars. There is no Baby Yoda anywhere. Oh no, he is. This is. But where? There is nothing like that. Oh, there is this series on Disney Plus. I had no idea about Disney Plus because I wasn't planning on getting it, because I had the DVDs. You can simply play it anytime you want it. I didn't have any streaming service until I knew that they were removing the Clone Wars from Netflix.
Right. Yeah. That was big, man. Because I remember doing that too. I was like, man, the Clone Wars was on Netflix for the longest time, and then it just went away.
Yeah, I mean, I have seasons 1 through 4 on DVD, but I never get to see season 5 and 6. So that's were the only bit that I didn't see of the Clone Wars until I heard that it was being taken out of Netflix. So I was, okay, there is a free trial. Let's get it. Let's get this 30 free days, and that's the only time I acquired one. Before that, just to see the Clone Wars. That was the only reason I wanted. And there is, when you have all of the season 5, all of the War on Mandalore plot.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yes. I really wasn't that hooked into it because of I didn't care about Mandalorians, to be honest.
Right.
Now I have an armor myself, but I didn't like them that much because I thought that Boba was just another stormtrooper but in green. Then you see the Mandalorian and it was, okay, this is cool. This is something different. and I went to see the Clone Wars again to see all of the Mandalorian episodes. And I was, oh, okay, so this is interesting. This is different than I thought. I thought it was boring because, well, they were very politic compared to other characters.
Right.
And that was another thing that took it away from me. Politics. I'm not brave enough for politics. Yes.
Got the Obi-Wan quote.
Yes. So I didn't really catch that much of Buffett. Of course, you get to see it now. He really get nerfed if you compare him to the series or something in that, because the only thing he did was fire once probably, and then fly just to fall into the Sarlacc pit.
Right, for sure.
Yes, and the problem is that his story was only told in the comics, and nobody really, not many people read the comics outside of a small part in the families back in then.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I didn't know a whole bunch about him back then. But now I guess we got the Book of Boba, so we get to know all that stuff now.
Yes. And it was cool to see him in there because it really introduced the character to people that did watch the Clone Wars and all of that stuff.
For sure, yeah, definitely.
And you get to see him in live action, and that's different.
Oh yeah, it's so cool.
Seeing the animation, yes, and even the effects that you get to see him on is, I mean, it's another thing that makes it more special now.
For sure.
And develops a lot more his character.
Oh yeah.
From what we said, of course he has his own lore from the comics and the books and all of that, but now he has something that people who are not that hard into Star Wars can already appreciate as well.
Definitely. All right, well, I think that wraps up the original trilogy. Yes. What did you think about the prequels? Let's start with the Force Awakens.
Okay, can we go to the spin-offs?
Oh yeah. If you want to do Solo and Rogue One.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. We'd start with whichever one you want to.
Yes, I mean, I want to go with those because I only get to see 5 Star Wars movies, and there is many people I know that actually went to see since the original trilogy, and
definitely,
I don't have that much experiences, but I like the ones I have. Rogue One, the 2015, if I'm not wrong. Oh no, 2016.
Yeah, it was around that for sure.
Yes, I went to the premiere of that movie.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, I was in 6th grade, if I'm not wrong, or 7th. One of those two. I had an exam the next day. I simply studied probably 4 or 5 hours before going there because my classes started at 7 a.m. The movie, the easy, would be going out of the theater at 3 a.m. So it would be just 2 max hours of sleep for me. It was okay. I need to study before, so I went to sleep probably 3 minutes, then go to the theater because it was 2 blocks away from my house. That was something cool. So I didn't have to walk that long to see it. It was after Force Awakens, my second Star Wars movie to see in theater. I went to see, midnight. You have all of that suspense, all of that tension building to see, what's going on, what's going to happen. It's Star Wars. And I simply get into the you get into the room to see it, the lights fade out. One thing that probably will not go away from my mind is that I committed an act of cringe in there because you get to see the Lucasfilm logo, because it was relevant because it was in the original Lucasfilm. It was the newer version. Mm-hmm. You see the Lucasfilm logo appearing, and I tell to my father, "Hey, it already started." The problem is that it wasn't a white. Hey, it started. It wasn't. Hey, it started.
Right.
And there was this
louder.
there was this probably 3 or 4 rows of people that were just laughing at me, and I was I realized what I just said. Yeah. And I guess that everybody was expecting the classic Star Wars logo with the crawling title,
right?
And that didn't happen in this movie.
Yeah, it was definitely jarring for sure. It just kind of starts.
Yes,
Yes,
it kind of disconcerts you for a little bit. Like, did I pay for the correct movie? or what's going on, and because you also have these names of the planets on screen, that's something different that never happens in the Star Wars as well.
Right.
You have all of these. You have these shadow troopers.
Those are cool.
Death troopers.
Yeah.
And because we were used to any kind of trooper have poor accuracy unless it's plot important, and you get to see them appearing with Krennic. Many people actually I heard humbling questioning why did he landed 400 yards away instead of landing
right on the front.
I mean, it was to appear cool, but I mean, many question that of why didn't he land in there? You could hear that in the movie. It was the first function of the country, and you get to still listen people talk about that. Like, it made sense of why didn't he just land in front of their house? But it still was a cool scene to see.
Definitely.
And you get to see the Death Troopers for the first time. It was I knew about the Death Troopers as in the zombie troopers, but I never seen these kind of troopers before, and I thought they were cool because it was black, but it wasn't just flat black. It was cool. The armor was different.
Yeah, they look kind of like a black and green aesthetic.
Yes. And the fact that you could not understand what they were talking about was also disconcerting sometimes.
Yeah, they have like a different communication thing, so like they can hear each other talk, but it sounds like jargon to everybody else, which is cool.
Yes. And I remember the reactions when you get to see this guy is Matt Mikkelsen's wife in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
When they shoot her, that they actually kill her, everybody was like, because you some trooper killed someone important apparently for the plot.
Right.
It just appeared and they actually did something. The first time you saw some troopers, they simply they killed the rebels, but they only stunned Leia, and now they killed someone actually at the first time, and
then they do it on the beach too, because they take out all those guys on the beach at the end of the movie.
That you actually have menacing stormtroopers now, and that was something different.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes, that was the first bit. Then the first thing I noticed in the movie that I actually recognized it, aside from the stormtroopers, the flat white ones, was the turbo tank in the Obi-Wan planet.
Right. Yeah. The tumbler. Yeah.
Yes.
The tumbler. Yeah, that's cool.
Yes. I think last time we saw it was on Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, on Kashyyyk when they're
and then we get to see them moving there casually as a prison transport. And he goes, I know those ones.
Right.
I think that was something cool to see, and I think this movie was different because you actually get to see a different side of the rebellion. It wasn't just the heroes the galaxy needs. No, it was they also do dark things.
Right. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I still have the question of what did the rebellion did to the prisoners that were on the transport as well.
I think they left them.
I mean, I don't know, because if it was that important, some friends of mine had the theory that they wanted no witnesses of this.
Oh, so they killed them?
It's just a theory my friends have.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because of how important Jin was
to
the Empire and all of that. If they
That's
knew,
crazy. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I mean, I neither idea until they mentioned it, and it kind of makes sense, considering how later these
Cassian shoots the other guy that can't climb out of the thing.
And it was his friend. I think that was explained in one of the books as well, that guy was actually one of his friends, not just another secret spy or something. And that probably with that shot, the movie turned a different turn, even darker than we thought it could be.
Oh yeah, I hope we get some more of that in Andor. I think that'd be really cool.
Yes, I think we're going to get that, because it's probably those rebel missions that were not the ones that got medals, but the ones that were required for the in-universe plot,
Right, for sure.
Yes, and I mean, I loved a lot of things. This movie is absolutely in my top 5.
Oh yeah,
of all the Star Wars, because part of it is because of the nostalgia that you get to seeing a lot of stuff in there, and I love that you get to see Stormtroopers again after a long break in live action. And
then you get the Shore Troopers too.
Oh yes, those were amazing. I really love their suit because now you don't just get flat white, you also get this sand coloring with different stuff, and the armor is different. You see the helmets. Oh, those look cool.
Yeah. I like the you see him for like 2 seconds, but there's a tank trooper like when they're on Jeddah, yes. And they're like transferring the crystals. Like I really like those tank troopers armor set.
Oh yes.
I definitely have a plan for doing that cosplay in the future because I think it's cool.
Yes. I really like the armor that introduced for Rogue One. I mean, because they didn't have plot armor, we don't get to see them later in the movies, but
right.
It is cool to see them because it was different and it actually felt functional,
For sure, yeah. Well, I like the new designs, they have kind of different designs for Stormtroopers are kind of like the basic, like overarching over everything, and then like for different terrains, they have like in Solo you get to see like those snow troopers that are on top of the train,
Yes.
I really like the variety. Then you get to see the patrol, like he's in it for 2 seconds in Solo too, but the guy that's on the speeder bike during the chase, Lots of cool different ones for sure.
Yes. And it's cool that they kinda find the perfect balance between something that felt original trilogy, but that didn't go that much into sci-fi just to look functional. That it still felt within the era and all of that stuff.
Definitely.
I think that was all. I also like the different approach they have to the Force in here with Chirrut and Blaze.
Oh yeah, he's like my favorite character from that movie. Chirrut. Like I really like that he's like Force sensitive, but he can't use the Force. Like that's the coolest thing.
Donnie Yen really nailed it with that character.
Oh dude, when he's I'd watch a whole movie of him just beating the crap out of stormtroopers, man. I want to see more of that. I hope. I don't think he would be in Andor, but that would be cool if they threw him in Andor.
Yeah, probably just give him a cameo or something, but. If
or hell, make an episode where it's just them two or something like that. They did that in Boba Fett where Boba Fett's not even in the episode. Make a whole episode about Baze and Chirrut just like messing stuff up and going crazy. I'd watch that for sure.
Yes, I still have these people on my shoe of what happened during Order 66 itself, in the temple, because one of my favorite designs are the temple guards. And I actually made a helmet a while ago about that. However, it was lost in a moving house, and turns out it wasn't lost; it was simply crashed.
Oh,
it was there is really not worth in recovering that because it's just way too much effort, too much time put into it.
Right,
it won't look the same. But I love the Jedi Temple Guards.
Yeah, and the gold accent on it. It's really cool.
Yes, and the white. The yellow lightsaber. That's cool. I love them, and part of me thinks that Chirrut and Blaze were part of the Temple Guards that somehow survived.
Oh, that would be cool. That'd be kind of a cool spin on it, for sure.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing the Temple Guards using the Force in live action or on mainstream series.
Well, I know. The Grand I don't know if you've seen Rebels, but the Grand Inquisitor in Rebels was a Temple Guard.
Oh, yes.
So some of them do use the Force, but they could definitely spin something like that. I know that they worshipped the Force, but I don't know where that exactly came from. They were like guardians of they're called like guardians of the wills or something like that, and like the wills are like the all-knowing things of like the Force and stuff. So
yes, I know. Well, I don't know if it's canon anymore, but part of what I heard is that these were Jedi's that decided to not continue their night training to become guardians of the temple. To guard all of that. That's what I read at some point. I don't know if it's still
so many things have been decanonized. It's hard to know.
Yes. That's what I heard, that they intentionally decided to not continue their training, just to devote themselves on being guards. But part of me wants to see them doing something during Order 66. They were betrayed by the Inquisitor, but they still had to fight at some point because you cannot have characters strong as them and just oh no they were killed by clone troopers. No, I mean I think they deserve something more.
They saved Baby Yoda, man. That's how Baby Yoda escaped. There you go.
yes.
Tying everything together.
Yes, that's something I'm willing to accept. Yeah, because we never see them in live action either.
Right, for sure.
Yes,
for sure.
It's gonna be nice to see. It's something I personally would like to see happening at some point.
Definitely.
Yes, it is.
So that do you have anything else you wanted to say about Rogue One before we moved on to? Did you want to talk about Solo, or did you just want to talk about Rogue One?
Oh well, can I conclude something little about Rogue One?
Dude, hey, if you have more to say, go for it.
Oh, thanks. Again, the Stormtrooper armor. One thing that I didn't realize back in then is how much it broke the CRLs for the 501st. The custom region. Yeah. Because I knew that the original Stormtrooper armor were made out of literal garbage, and what I didn't know is that for Rogue One they actually had sculpted and molded Stormtrooper armor, so they were all symmetric. They were all the same, and that it set some sort of division in the 501st. So
really?
Sure then you have all of the armor is different than you get in the original trilogy, because now every Stormtrooper is the same. Everything is symmetric, everything is clean, and all of that. And then you have the Black Series helmet, which is based after Rogue One, and these little lines on the side of the helmet, the blue lines.
Yeah.
On the original trilogy, they are just painted. On Rogue One, they are actually a texture. They are within the helmet. They are like little bombs or something.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yes, I mean, I never saw any of this in the movie, but you actually have a lot of details in the helmet as well that you don't get to see. I mean, that's a lot of props to the costuming team. Because you're never going to see that in the film if you pause it 1,000 times, but they still put a lot of that into it.
Yeah, that's great when they do stuff like that. That attention to detail, it's like, even if you don't see it, it really sells the costume,
Yes, and even all of the creature stuff, I know they had a lot of puppets in this movie for all of the aliens and a lot of the...
Yeah, that's great. I love it when they do that. That's like classic Star Wars to me, is when they start adding puppets and stuff.
Yes, that's something that also sells the idea that this is part of the original trilogy, because even though you see it in full high definition, you also see a lot of stuff you're familiar with that connects very well the prequels with the original trilogy, starting by the characters, and you also get the ships. They're the same. One thing I love about the VFX is that they made the CG models of the ships to look the same way as the scale models they made for the original trilogy. Because I thought that there were scale models as well, and turns out there were no scale models for that. For the battle scenes. Right. And then you get to Scarif, and all of that is cool. The soundtrack is different because it felt like Star Wars, but it doesn't feel a lot like the Force that you get to see in every movie as well.
Yeah, for sure. I can agree with that.
Yeah, it sets a different tone, in my opinion, to what you're getting, because you are... you kind of get... you kind of dig alongside the movie that your main characters are not going to appear in any other movie, and it's probably because they're going to die at some point.
Right.
With some of my friends, we made some listing, and I said that most of the crew, except for Jean, was going to die. Turns out that I was the most correct one, and I was like, "Oh, but why was I correct? I didn't know that Chirrut died when I actually saw him being cool in the movie." It was cool to see him just calling out Locke, but kinda using the Force to get to the control panel thing.
Yeah, that was sick.
I remember that scene in the theater, because when he was just walking, literally blind, using just his staff, and no no Death Trooper, not just normal Stormtrooper, where no Death Trooper hits him. One guy, probably 2 rows ahead of me, in the theater, just screams out of nowhere, "Oh, come on!" Because nobody shoots him, and they were the most precise Stormtrooper you had.
Yeah, the Force was protecting him.
Yes, I mean, I am buying that he was using the Force up to some point, but
yeah,
there were many loves when this guy just screamed that. In the one of the most serious scenes you have, one of the most emotional, because he's quite sacrificing himself.
For sure.
This guy just screams that, and that kind of breaks the emotion, but it still kind of makes sense, that you're not hitting him, and there is not that much people to shoot at. But
sure, yeah.
it was heartbreaking to see him die like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because when I saw that he was force sensitive up to some point and all of that, and we saw Darth Vader return, I was expecting to see some lightsaber duel, maybe die in 3 hits, but probably fight against Vader and do something that kind of honors the Jedi part of him.
Right, for sure.
But it shows also how he was with the rebellion, and they were not really the most advantaged ones in this fight.
Yeah, that's like my favorite thing about the movie is that nobody survives at the end,
Yes.
Essentially, like, all of them die. So I think that was a good call on their part.
Yes. That was the most appropriate thing without having that goals of, okay, this guy survived, this guy was useful, he was important, a hero. Where did he go in the original trilogy? I think this time killing all your characters was probably the best decision
for sure
you could have.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. And then, all of the Battle of Scarif, all of the ships, you get cameos from the previous sagas that you have. I know that you have the Ghost in there from Rebels. That's probably the only ship I could actually call that was in there. Because I wasn't looking for it. I simply was looking at that specific spot in the screen, and it was, oh, that's the Ghost! And I was expecting to hear something from Hera or Ezra or something at that point. I didn't get to see the finale from Rebels before of that. Actually get to see that 2 years ago. But I didn't know how the series concluded, so I didn't know anything about that. But it was cool for me to see it. And then you have the Hammerhead Corvette.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yes. I didn't have the game where it came out. I think it was the Old Republic.
I know what you're talking about, for sure.
Yes, but I know that it was in a game before. I think I saw that in a cinematic trailer on probably Radio Shack or something like that. it was the only thing they played for probably 5 years. The cinematics from the Old Republic in the same computer. And when my parents were buying something, I was just standing in there, looking at the screen, and I kind of saw that probably some of the mini gameplays that they played in the screen, and I saw that ship, and I don't really know what I thought. I just thought that it was cool, and I had no idea what it was for because I didn't see it having canyons or something important. Then I just saw it out of nowhere, ran all the destroyer all the way, and then destroying both at once, then taking out the ship. I think that was epic. I love how you also slow down your music to show how big that shot was.
Right. When they did all the Star Destroyers falling into the thing. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I really loved that scene because it kinda, for me at that point, was when I realized that very much nobody was going to survive that battle.
Right.
Because you already had I think before that, Bodhi died in the ship.
Yeah, the grenade gets lobbed and he gets, everybody gets messed up for sure.
Yes, and it was with that shot and with the music they played that I realized that no one was going to survive. And because you have this little USB in the original trilogy already, it gets deliberate, but none of the characters you see here show up in the Battle of Yavin. And I was, I think they are all going to die.
Right.
Yes. And of course, then after that, you get to see the Death Star just firing at Krennic.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Like when it
I
did
think that was
green.
personal.
Oh, for sure. Dude.
Yes,
For
yes. I mean,
sure. Yeah, he was just like, you can
could-
fire when ready, and just blows him up. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, he could have just fired at any point in the planet, but fired directly at what Krennic was. I think that was personal for sure. Yes. And then you see how it blows up. You see the ships escaping, Holtante 4, all of that. But before of that, the hallway scene.
Oh yeah, man. Star Wars loves its hallway scenes, man, and that one's a great one.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was the ending of the movie. Of course, with the rebels escaping with the 24, but I was not expecting to see Vader.
Yeah, they just threw him in last second. He just took over everything, man. He's awesome.
Yes, I mean, I am probably 99% sure that nobody was eating popcorn at that moment when everything goes dark and you just hear no music. Yes, there was no music, there was no sound, just the alarm, and then you listen the breathing. And immediately, a few frames out there, you see the lightsaber. Everyone was like, oh!
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so now we have The Force Awakens. What did you think about that?
Okay, so The Force Awakens, the first Star Wars scene 2005, 10 years later. Well, at least the first Star Wars in the big screen, you know. Because before of that, you have all of the thing that Lucasfilm moving to Disney and all of that. You got Rebels on the meantime that got kind of slept on, kind of hated on, kind of people don't know about it.
I think people got stuck with the art style. That was the thing with Rebels.
Yes.
Like Rebels is a really great show for me. I think they tried to do something different with the art style. They kind of tried to do Ralph McQuarrie, like the concept artist. Like they tried to do a lot of his art style.
Yes.
And to me personally, I don't think that translated well to 3D. And I think that's what turned a lot of people off. But the story for it's great. You know.
Yes.
It starts off kind of slow, like Clone Wars, a little bit, and then it picks up so much. But yeah.
Yes, I think that since season 2, it was kind of flat on season 1. Then it went in a very big slope on season 2.
Oh yeah.
Then it closed just way so high on season 4. You know, for the finale, that was something you could not expect.
Oh yeah, it was crazy.
Especially for a show that started very family friendly.
Oh yeah, wait, it just went the same way as Clone Wars. Like Clone Wars after season 3 is just like not a kid's show anymore almost. You know, it's like people's heads are getting cut off, you know, people are getting stabbed. Like it's a hardcore show, you know.
Oh yes. I mean, one of the other problems that Rebels had was the budget, because you have probably $500,000 for each Clone Wars episode, and you have about, I think it goes from somewhere from $50,000 to $100,000 for each episode of Rebels. So you simply could not pay off. That's why you have Lothal that much in the show, because generating the planets was very expensive. So they reuse a lot throughout the series, but mainly to not create that much, and that's why some missions are straight away in the space with nothing surrounding. That way you save on them. That's why you have the same, when you have crowd shots, you have the same 5 citizens repeated all over again, to kind of save on that, because you didn't have that much budget. And with how it flopped because of the reception of the fan base, you very much kept the same budget, you didn't increase it. However, they kind of compensated that with the storytelling of it, because you could not have that much in graphics, but you compensated with the story you have. And I think that escalated nicely, and you very much developed it in a way that you could expect. You know, the rebels start, they were not even rebels back in then, now that I think of it. They
pre-rebels.
Yes. I remember that it kind of bugged me that they did not kill some troopers, they simply stuns them. Even Ezra's lightsaber, considering that it's a lightsaber, very much use it only as the stunning blaster thing. And it was kind of weird for me to see all of that. And even in fight scenes, they simply knocked them out and all of that.
Right, yeah.
And that they were very much Robin Hood in a way. Just stealing.
For sure.
Just come, hit fast and run away. That's it. And Then everything scales quickly since you got the Quincytor and Vader on scene.
Yeah, things start to get real.
Yes, because now they are important for the Empire. You start to bring characters back, and you somehow start giving the idea that the rebellion is building from people like them. Then you have season 2. I don't remember if it was from the beginning or from the mid-season, but that you get to see this trailer with an ATT premiering, and I think it was shown at the Star Wars Celebration, if I'm not wrong.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think that you get to see Captain Rex back.
Oh yeah, that was classic. Sure.
It was cool to see that familiar face, and hearing that voice again was also special,
Definitely. Well, it's just crazy because like that's pretty much all we had.
Looking at the tank,
and that's pretty much all we had, and then Force Awakens came out and kind of. It was just, the TV shows are hype, but movies bring in so much money, So it's like the hype from The Force Awakens was real,
Oh yes, because you have, I don't know, the first trailer came out early 2014, if I'm not wrong.
Something and then like that,
Yes, and you had to wait almost a year and a half to get to see the movie.
Yeah.
And I went to the first night as well of that movie because I really wanted to go because, it's Star Wars. I went to see first Star Wars I get to see in my life in a theater for the first time. And I really went there and it was full. All of the rooms were full.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. Yes, it doesn't matter if your theater was a small one. It was full. It was
full. It was the same for me, for sure.
Yes. By that time I grew up enough so that my Jedi robe could not fit, so I simply went as a normal person, and I was kind of sad because I want to go as Obi-Wan, and I couldn't, but I did took a lightsaber because I really wanted to have something.
Right, have something.
And
I'm a fan.
Yes, and everyone else was yes, I'm a fan too. That's why I'm here at midnight, kid. and everything was full. We had to arrive probably. I used to live 2 blocks away, so not even 5 minutes of walking.
Right.
So we went there even 30 minutes before the function, and there was already crowded. We spent probably 15 minutes on the line to the snacks. It wasn't necessary, but it was just to live the experience,
Right, for sure.
It was full of people, many people in Stormtrooper suites, before you get the reference for the sequel Stormtrooper, you have the original one,
right,
you have Jedi. I don't recall seeing any clone trooper, which kind of disappointed me in a way. Of course, you get to see Jedi. I think I got to see 5 Darth Vaders, 2 Boba Fett, something like that. One Chewie, that guy actually was very tall.
Nice.
And I noticed that the guy was actually tall because he wasn't wearing those heel things. It was actually a shoe that you could see touching the floor. So nice. that guy was... the guy usually easily reached the 8 feet. So it was very impressive to see for me, I am not very tall. I was even shorter in 2015, so it was okay. It was an amazing experience just to see there. You get to the theater, you see the screen. The new style of Lucasfilm appeared for the first time on screen, because you don't have the classic green or gold, you have now the silver, and that's something that starts different. Since you get to see that. Yeah, everyone was whoa.
Yeah,
and then you see
different.
Yes, and you see a long time ago, everyone cheers again, but then you listen to the fanfare with Star Wars title appearing on screen. There was no way they could make more sound in that, and of course everyone was quiet when the crawling title appears, just so they could focus on what was on screen, to read. But everything was just so cool about it, and then you get to see everything, because you have to see a Rey on this desert planet, and kind of like a tribute to Luke and how much of the stuff he has resembles what we get to see on A New Hope. And of course you also get introduced to Finn in there, how they both met in a very interesting way, someone hitting you in the face with a metallic stuff.
Yeah, I guarantee you that can't be fun, you know.
Yes. And then you get probably the first callback to the original trilogy, which is the Millennium Falcon with that team playing.
Oh yeah. She's like,
that's
that's a piece of garbage.
yes. Yes. That was something nice to see, and you get to see it flying again with its own team again for the first time in 30 years, I think.
Yeah.
I think something like that. It was a long time since we last saw that on big screen. And we see it flying, how it got trapped by Hans garbage collecting ship. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, it's like a first order. I think it's like a first order ship, but it's like a prisoner ship or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what it. Oh, that's what it is.
I think so, because that's what I think it's a prisoner ship, because that's what like holds all like the raftars or whatever. Like they're like cells or whatever. I think don't quote me on that, but I think it's a prisoner ship.
Oh, it makes a lot of sense. You know, in that same shot, I love how Finn is discussing with BB-8 that he's a stormtrooper and how BB-8 just gives him the
little thumbs up with the lighter.
I think that was more like a flipping up than a thumbs up. But yeah, I think that was very, very fun to see. You know, and then you're getting shows to Han and Chewie, and you know the Chewie. We're at home.
Oh, dude, that scene was it hit you right in the feels.
Yes, and then we also get to see that Han is still very much the same person. You know, having depth with half of the galaxy. That's Han Solo at its prime. You know,
for sure.
Yeah. You have all of that sequence that leads to Takodana. And I know that in the flags that you have at mass castles is the flag that you have from Anakin's pod racing in the Buntaib parade.
Oh yeah. There's so many different ones. That's really cool.
Yeah. At this point, I think they probably included every logo they found. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
Nobody was going to look at every single one to know that it's from another franchise. You know.
Yeah.
I really like that battle because we get to introduce to the Resistance for the first time, and I really love the March of the Resistance. That's very sick. We get to listen that team slowly start heading up, and as we see all of the X-wings,
it's like a sunset or whatever. Yeah.
Yes, really cool. Yes. That's very sick scene. I really like that shot a lot. Then we see Luke's lightsaber for the first time again. Since chronologically, you know, since episode 5.
Yeah.
Yes, since the Empire. Then we also get to see Finn with the lightsaber.
Yeah, that was cool. Really cool.
I really like how the other stormtrooper just decided to melee fight him instead of just shoot him. And that was kind of cool to see, you know, with his staff or something. Now, apparently that was explained later that this stormtrooper was some partner of him in one of his divisions.
Yeah, like his squad or something. Yeah.
Yes, and that's why it was more personal than anything. And then we get to see Kylo Ren again, how he just stops Rey in the middle of the time and okay, now let's go. And of course, how can we forget? Next up comes Leia.
Oh yeah, that was big.
And C-3PO again, you know, with his red arm that apparently was unrecognizable. One little fun fact is that they couldn't use the full C-3PO because of copyrights.
Oh, really?
Yes, I don't know how much advanced it was Disney with the owning of Lucasfilm, but the full C-3PO with the golden arm or the previous Phantom Menace version were still property of Fox or something. And they had to change the character. That's why they gave him a red arm, and that was enough to use it as some sort of variable of him.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah. It wasn't for the plot. It was just for the copyright. Yeah. I mean, it's just a random thing that got to my mind now that I think of it.
Yeah. I that's the first time I've heard of that. So that's interesting that they did that because of that.
Yes, when I read that, I was expecting some explanation of, there was this battle and he lost it. Oh no, it's because of that. There is no canon explanation for it so far. Simply that. And then you get to, I don't know if the rebels were on Yavin 4 by that time. I cannot remember.
I don't remember either. I don't know. I can't remember what, because they never said. So yeah, probably, but who knows?
I think it was just called as Rebel Base, Resistance Base. Yeah, and of course the Star Killer Base destroying the entire Republic.
Yeah,
that was
intense.
Yes, I wasn't expecting to see that. We get to see Death Star style weapons every now and then, but I think they made it bigger and
destroyed 3 planets at once. That's crazy.
I think it was 5.
Was it 5?
It was a system of 5 planets.
Dang, that's crazy. I forgot about that. Yeah, dude, it's like draining the sun and stuff like that. That's crazy.
Yes, and then of course what happened is you have the Rebel Base. R2D2 gets introduced again, unveiled by BB-8, and then he's just in sleeping mode.
Yeah, he's in sleep mode. It's hibernation mode.
Yes, he's resetting his Windows. Yes, of course we get to see him, and of course by that point you have the question: okay, where is Luke? Why is R2D2 shut down? What happened? And of course then you have all this. Let's go and save the Resistance by Finn and Han Solo, and at the same time let's save Rey and the entire galaxy. And I really like the concept of everything of that, and how Rey was able to use the Force kind of pays off later because of she was a Palpatine.
Right, right. Definitely.
And I think she had some sort of deeper connection. We don't know still what happened in Jakku because she knows about the rebellion and all of that, so she probably heard stories
about
sure. Jedi also.
Definitely.
I don't think that was straight away out of nowhere. I mean, they're probably going to explain that in the upcoming series and movies.
Yeah, they'll probably give more backstory to it for sure.
Yes. I mean, I really love. Of course, Han's death. That was just so emotional to me.
That was hardcore.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting him to die just like that, but I mean, it probably was necessary. It probably wasn't. I don't know, but I actually cried in that scene. Dang, when I went to see.
It's an emotional scene. Yes. I think it's a good one too. I think that they picked a good time. I know Harrison Ford wanted to be killed off in Return of the Jedi, but I think that was a good place to kill him.
Yes, I mean it was kind of appropriate, because kill him in a standoff because of smuggling stuff was good character, but it couldn't be as iconic, as what happened right here. And then you see Chewie shooting as what could be his nephew up to some point, and that was probably hard to him,
for sure, yeah.
Story-wise, because I know that he kind of helped to raise him up to some point.
Yeah, he was like an uncle to him.
Yes, and that scene was very, very emotional, and just looking at him falling like that into that pit was heartbreaking,
Definitely.
Because there was no after, until episode 9, but still there was nothing else from him.
Yeah.
Yes, and very much the last thing you get to see. Well, the last thing I got to recall from this is the score that you have in the duel between Kylo and Rey.
Oh, that was cool.
It's the classic Force theme, but arranged in a different way to make it slightly lighter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I really like how it looks. You see Rey's face in the contrast of blue and red. That could be the light and dark with the Force theme playing. I really love that shot. Many people complain about that shot because she had no Jedi training, but I really love that one. For me, that kind of sets up what she could choose of the dark side or the light side. Because you have this contrast. The first thing it could be just a stretch, but personally that's good. It is, and definitely, of course, you have Luke just standing.
Yeah, I would have preferred him to come. Like, I was really hoping that he, instead of her catching the saber, like how Kylo reaches for it and then she catches it. I would have preferred her to still have that battle with Kylo because I think it's super cool. But then her end up getting kind of trumped by Kylo because he had more training and then Luke catches it and kind of saves the day.
Yes.
I think that would have been that was really my only big critique for The Force Awakens is that I wished Luke would have appeared there. You know?
Yes, I was expecting to see it. I mean, probably many people, probably most of the people that went to see it were expecting that, because you see the lightsabers in position in the snow, being pulled by the Force and flying. My expectation first kind of was the Kylo, because he was with his hands kind of pulling it, but then we see that it's not flying to him, it's flying at him.
Yeah.
And then passes by. I was expecting to see Luke. But it was Ray, you know. It was kind of setting the expectation to see Luke, but it simply wasn't. It could be a nice return, and if he didn't return there, I would have preferred that he returned for The Last Jedi rather than the cliffhanger of The Force Awakens.
Right.
You know, it could be kind of nice to have the mystery of did they find him or did they not?
For sure, definitely.
Yes. Well, I think that's my conclusion to Force Awakens.
Okay. And then we got Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi, I think that's from 2017 or late 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That movie, I think this is the first time we don't see time transitioning from one movie to another, because it's
like
straight
right
away
after
where.
it.
Yes, I was expecting to see some time after, but you know, I don't know why they make this, but you know, it already happened. Where did it start? Oh, I remember. You have. I think this is the first time we see some sort of actual negotiation in a movie where you see Poe in his single starfighter against the entire cruiser.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of interesting to see, kind of funny. My only complaint from this sequence is that the bombers were too slow.
Right.
For being, I mean, yes, they have a lot of heavy bombs and that, but I would say that as a bomber, it has to be heavy, you know, because most of them were destroyed before the battle. So
yeah, no.
Yeah, that kind of explains why they became a resistance instead of a rebellion. You know, probably they run out of budget in the universe. Who knows? And we also get to see Finn in his Bacta suit thing. It was kind of weird to see someone like that in the live action universe.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that there was a lot of time between those two films just because he was healing.
Right.
And I didn't know that Bacta was that fast to heal. You know, someone slicing your spine in half. That's probably a lot of damage.
Hardcore, yeah.
Yes. Well, he survived that. I mean, you know, probably it's kind of a setting to him being force sensitive later in the saga or something.
Definitely.
Who knows? I have my questions about the movie of the bombers. That's very much it. I have to complain about that.
Right.
Because probably even some sort of new version of Y Wings could be better.
Yeah, right. I mean, they had like those type of like vehicles. Like, I don't know why they wouldn't do that, but yeah, who knows? You know,
I mean,
it's just the direction of the movie, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was more. I think that the problem that the Last Jedi had to follow continuity on some points is that you have the fight between the directives of. You have one director for Episode 7, one director for Episode 8. You have this fight between them to who can make a better movie instead of. Let's make a good movie. Right. And I think they sacrificed some of that just for their egos or their selves. You know, I think maybe wrong, but that's my opinion of that.
For sure.
Yes, and then we get to see Luke again with his lightsaber and how he just grabs it and pulls it away.
Yeah, dude, I literally, I really try like not to be negative. Like when I talk to Star Wars, I despise that scene. That scene is for me, for me personally, is literally if I had to pick the worst scene in Star Wars, for me, that is the worst scene in Star Wars. Like I said, and like this whole podcast is about positivity and bringing people together and stuff like that. So I try to stay on a positive note. But literally, I like when I was watching it literally when he did that, it literally felt like somebody punched me in the face.
Yeah, I mean, that didn't feel like something the Luke that we knew would do. But after watching Boba Fett, and knowing what happened to his Jedi school,
Right.
it kind of pays off now. But when you look at that as your first introduction to Luke's character in the sequels now, I mean, looking how he kind of tried way too hard to establish the order, and
It
how
fell
he
apart.
lost it all.
Yeah.
It made sense that he didn't want to do anything with the Jedi again. But
Yeah.
but
I was saying
looking
that
at
was like his father's saber, and he had so much time. I don't think he would just be like, like screw that, like for me, like I said, like I want to keep it on a positive note, but like, man, I don't know what that scene just it didn't hit me in the right way. I was really, and maybe that was the whole point of the scene. Maybe that's how it was supposed to make you feel, but I just, oh man, for me that was rough.
yeah. I mean, considering how many shows they announced it on the last celebration, I think they may have actually planned to kind of sink his character that much, but to explain you in these future upcoming shows.
Right. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. We're seeing more and more of him, so it can explain kind of like what you were saying.
I mean,
going through that state.
Yes. I mean, with Disney's kind of support on the production of stuff, they have a lot more capacity than when they were just Lucasfilm, because they are really not lacking any budget because of Disney. So
right, they're unlimited funds because Disney is a monopoly.
Yes. Yes, I mean, I do think that they could actually have prepared all of these stories that we are getting, at least on the way of a story, before getting to the production and actually dividing, or this is going to be a movie, this is going to be a series, this is going to be a book. I think it is possible, trying to look at the bright side and not that they made explanation after.
Right, for sure.
Yes. I mean, it still kind of makes sense,
Definitely.
And then you see, I really like how he's just trolling Ray that she's feeling the force, and he's just
with the feather. That was pretty funny. He's like, I feel it. She like smacks it.
Yeah, and just no.
That's that scene where she like feels the force and it goes through kind of the whole island. I thought that was a brilliantly shot scene. It really shows you like the connection with the force and like the Jedi have with the force. Like, I thought that was really great.
Oh yes. And then the mirror scene, that really felt kind of creepy, kind of.
I was so confused. I'm still confused by that scene. I don't understand it.
Yes, that was actually a very confusing scene, because it wasn't just the scene that you get in Dagobah, where Luke is facing his own fear.
Right.
I mean, it is also Rey's fear, but it's more complex in some way, that it's not just, okay, it's this and that.
Right.
Yes, it's basically her own identity, but it is also more than that, and is at the same time nothing. I like that in a very interesting way.
Right, for sure.
Yes, and then I don't think we have seen this concept before. The force projection thing.
Oh, that we have. Yeah, at the end, when he like projects his body, that was crazy, man. I mean, I think that really, as much as like personally I didn't care for Luke's story arc in the sequels, I think Luke was at kind of the height of his power, even though he cut himself off from the Force. I mean, we've never seen any Jedi ever project himself from multiple planets away. He's at the height of his power, and I thought that was the craziest thing.
Yes, I mean, I love that scene. When you have Hot Beep 2.0. You have all of that Walker's thing.
Yeah, and they're like shooting the thing on a crate.
Yeah,
like shooting the salt, red salt. That was cool.
Yes, I mean, since we see Luke walking into the base, well, I mean, from inside the base, it's just how epic how we look at him, just walking with his rope, then how he gives the dice to Leia.
Yeah, and that's another thing, is like he's like a projection, but he also can like hold objects,
Yes. And that was interesting, and now that I think of it, I don't know if Leia could hold it because of her Jedi training, or
maybe who knows,
I mean, it could be, or it could be that it was an actual physical projection as well.
Maybe, yeah,
and I really love the entire speech between Kylo and Luke, because it was kind of setting the bittersweet ending that you lost basically everything, but you still have that little bit of hope.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that was something interesting for me to see, and I love how Kylo never touches Luke, and Luke never touches Kylo's lightsaber in that sequence. It was all just dodging,
just like moving. Yeah.
Yes,
cool.
that was cool, and I remember when we see him slicing through his chest, I was, no, they killed him, another one again, and
he just wasn't there. Yeah.
Yes, I thought they had an animation error here because we see him that he still has his two arms attached to him. It was, oh, they didn't fall. That's not how physics works. And then we look at him turning back, and oh, so he's not dead. What happened?
Right.
And then he just walks, and then how Kylo just boom stabs him,
He's like,
and nothing
later.
happens. Yes. I mean, I just love that. I mean, all of his sequencing, then fighting without fighting. Ever since he got the blast, and when Kylo's like more, and how all of the dust disappears, and how he's that was just so much, man. That I agree with you that he was on his prime for doing that.
For sure, yeah. Definitely.
It kind of explains why he just faded away, because probably was since he didn't
probably drained everything from him. It probably used literally everything that he had to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't know what does the book have about this, but it sure requires a lot of energy.
For sure.
Yes.
Well, I think that kind of I mean, I don't know if did you have more for The Last Jedi, or that was kind of the ending. Do you want to move on to Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so the Rise of Skywalker. Sorry. The Rise of Skywalker. The third time that Star Wars ends. Because I remember that there were these promotionals that the saga comes to an end with the Return of the Jedi. Then the saga ends finally with Revenge of the Sith. Now the saga actually comes to an end for the third time, and that was kind of interesting. I remember seeing the trailer, and I was like, no, this cannot be the end. I was certain that there would be a part 1 and part 2.
Yeah, I thought that's what they were gonna do too, but I guess they just decided not to go with. I think they should have done that. I think it would have been a lot cooler of a movie, because there was a lot to explain still.
Probably Lord of the Rings long haul cut would be better.
Yeah, like an extended edition.
Yes, I mean, there are. I feel that the beginning of the movie, probably the first half, was way too rushed.
Yeah, it was really fast. They just kind of breezed through. But that's kind of like JJ's directing too. Like I felt like a lot of Force Awakens was kind of like that too. It was very like bam, bam, bam. Like move on to the next thing, move on to the next. I agree. I think it would have been either an extended edition or a 2-parter. I think would have been good. I just don't think they. I think I read somewhere where he had suggested that, and they didn't. Lucasfilm didn't want to do that. They wanted to keep it one movie.
Yeah, there was this supposed extended edition of 4 hours and 19 minutes, but that's not going to get released because it's not going to give them the same profit,
Right, for sure. Longer movie, for sure.
Yeah, because if you do that in Disney Plus, it's still going to be exclusive to the subscribers. And if you do that in DVD, it's going to get pirated straight away. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it's not going to work out very well for them. For us, it could work out very well. But I don't think it's going to happen. I didn't know when I first saw the movie that the first planet was Mustafar.
Yeah, they didn't say that. I was like, what the heck? You have to read the book to figure out that that's Mustafar. I was like, okay, cool, all right.
Yes, I mean, it kind of makes sense that the planet changes its weather, or it was another side of the planet. But I was like, oh, if it's something important as Mustafar, for us, thing like we're heading to and arriving in 5 minutes or something like that. But I think they could have said that, considering how prequel memes were a thing that important back in then. So many people knows Mustafar just because of the duel between Anakin and Obi-Wan. So returning to that location was actually very, very important part.
Definitely.
And especially since you have this epic duel in there, and that you have this Sith compass thing hiding in that planet as well. Also, in the movie, we never get explained why are they killing these people or what happened or why is the Knights of Ren in there or what happened with everything. I feel that it was way too rushed to see Kylo just
Kind of
flying.
grab the thing and
Yes.
be like, bye, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and how he just flies from across 5 planets within 2 minutes or something like that. I think that was just so fast to
Yeah,
catch up something.
definitely. I agree.
Yes, and then I think it was hilarious the scene where you have, I think it was Mark Hamill voice work for this alien with 2 tails or horns.
Yeah,
You know.
that was him.
Yeah, when he just say when Pose says, "How can we pay you?" or something like that, and just replies, "Win the war." And the next scene is just he said, "Boom," over the table. Like that. That wasn't very. That wasn't what I was expecting. Probably
sure.
the ship blowing up, but never to see the. I think it's the first time we see a severed head in Star Wars in a movie.
Yeah, for sure.
And how he just put it on the table.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting to see that at all. It was odd to see also Poe flying the Falcon, making hyper jumps.
Yeah, it was like just do different things for sure.
Yeah, I don't think we have ever seen that before again. But it was interesting. Part of that was what felt it rushed for me. And however, it may open the space for future projects, because you showcase how many planets I have no idea in this span of 1 minute. So this may open the possibility of having this much stories explaining what happened in this time.
Right, for sure. Yeah, that would be cool if we could see some more of those planets, because like there was a lot. Like I know one was Cloud City, and like they hyper jump through a lot of different stuff. So who knows?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of stuff to explain in there. I mean, you can if you want. It would be nice if you do to explain why were they specifically in there.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I struggle to remember what happened on the first part because there were a lot of things on the first half.
Yeah,
just
for sure.
Too rushed, if you ask me. And then you also have Rey training as well.
Yeah, that was cool. Seeing her go through that little training montage. I thought that was like Leia training her. Like that was so cool.
Yes, and the kind of training that she has kind of makes sense, because she only had Luke as a master for 2 or 3 days, and it wasn't even full training. Then Leia with brief training and whatever she could take off from the books.
Right.
So the fact that she was doing more physical training kind of makes sense, because she didn't have that much teaching about the ways of the Force to start with. So it was probably more appropriate considering the way they were in war and there weren't that much Jedi to make the Force a relevant point in this battle. Sorry, I think it was funny how she just gets mad at the training ball and just bam, the dice
throws the lightsaber.
Yeah, and how she just cuts the tree with that. It's an appropriate reaction. If the ball's just pissing you off, shooting lasers at you every day. Yeah, it's going to happen at some point.
Definitely.
Yes, and then we get to see all the hangar of the rebel. I mean, the resistance, and of course many familiar ships, starting with the Tantive 4 again. That's something special, and I love the mixed reactions we have to Poe Dameron on the somehow Palpatine has returned.
Yeah. I was just like, that's really fast, but hey, so they got to tell the story, so I guess this is how it is.
Yes, we went from Kylo Ren on side missions to Rey Jedi training, then to we have the original trilogy again. Okay, happening right here.
Right.
Something interesting. Yeah, I think that was very fast, very accelerated to what we were expecting to see in a 2-hour-long movie.
Yeah.
I don't really know what happened next. I think it was the part where Rey, where they go to the other desert planet, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, that's the next sequence. Okay, and then again we have another desert planet to our list. because I know that wasn't Tatooine nor Jakku. It was another planet.
Yeah,
again.
Takadana. I want to. No, Takadana's the one. No, they.
I think it was. It could be Air Kid, but
yeah, it was something like that. I can't remember what the.
Yes, but it was another desert planet.
Yeah.
And then we got introduced to the Sith artifacts again. I think that's kind of cool because I remember them from the Clone Wars, but never get to see them in live action.
Right, for
and
sure.
And how these things actually hurt people's bodies if they are not strong with the Force. That was kind of cool to see. And how the dagger has some sort of Horcrux style abilities.
For sure. Yeah.
It kind of makes sense, considering that Bane's mask still could possess people and stuff like that. It was kind of cool to see that in live action. Then you get to see the Force healing thing.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
I think it was smart for them to release that episode from The Mandalorian before they
yeah, because Grogu has it.
Yeah, yes, and they already knew the reactions that people would have if Rey does that straight away, But people, oh, Baby Yoda does this, then it's good. It probably was a smart move,
Right.
And that's probably they advised many times to watch the Mandalorian episodes before watching the Rise of Skywalker.
For
I
sure.
really like the snake thing that they have in there.
Yeah, that creature was cool for sure. Yeah, I like that when they go underneath and stuff like that. That was a really cool creature.
It really had a lot of real nature characteristics you would have for a desert stuff. And, I think that was some nice thing. And then you get to see the Knights of Ren again, mostly looking menacing.
Yeah, they didn't really do much in the movies, unfortunately.
They looked cool. That was
they did.
Yeah, they were standing, menacing, looking badass. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yes, but they did their job very nice until they get killed. But yeah, then of course the heartbreaking moment when we thought that they killed another main character, where Chewie supposedly died.
Yeah.
And I was not expecting to see Rey with the Force lighting ability.
Yeah, that was shocking. We were like, oh, okay.
I'm still not sure if that was a Sith ability from her or if it was the Force Judgment. I think the one that Plo Koon had.
I want to say it was Sith because it was blue.
Palpatine.
Yeah, it was the blue. She kind of tapped into her hatred.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, part of me thinks that it could be either of those until the novelization changes something again or whatever. But
right, for sure.
I mean, if she's descendant from Palpatine, it's most likely Force lighting. But if she's kind of into the light side, it could be a stronger version of Force Judgment.
Definitely. Yeah, that'd be cool.
I was expecting between Kylo and her to kind of crash the ship, not her to just blow it with Force lighting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that shocked many people because I remember many, and especially because they get to see Chewie dying.
Right.
Like, oh no. I think they should have revealed him alive later in the movie, not on the next sequence of action,
Yeah, he's kind of like, oh, he's dead, and then, oh, he's not dead, like instantly in the next scene, so.
Yeah, probably later until they save him, not right away, Then we get to see the other planet that is kind of like a downtown or something. I mean, I know that in that movie is the first time we get to see John Williams playing a character.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what that planet.
I think it was
called.
a bartender.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think of what that planet's called. I'm blanking off the top of my head right now, but I know, where Babu Freak is and stuff like that.
Yes.
What did you think of the fight scene on the Death Star?
I think it was during the limitations that you have from the in-universe characters.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that I could have changed, or that I would have changed from that scene, is adding soundtrack.
Yeah, that was a big thing for me too. Is because I think they play like the Duel of Fates. Like I think it was very misleading because in the trailer, like when they're fighting, they play the Duel of Fates while they're fighting, and I was like, oh man, that would be cool. And then we don't get. It's like weird. Like I wanted that fight. Like I felt like the scene setup was great. I just wanted that fight scene to be really like a lot longer.
Yes.
And I couldn't agree more with the soundtrack. I think that would have made it. I don't know if you've seen that edit where they have edited the Duel of the Fates into it, and it's so cool.
Yes.
It's so cool.
I mean, the fight itself is not bad, as many people say.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that probably the composition for the final shot was not the most appropriate they could have gotten. Simply adding music. It doesn't matter if it was a reuse of Duel of Fates or some new piece. Could have changed that a lot, to give it a different focus.
Mm-hmm.
Same choreography, same stuff, but it could be a lot different, just to make it more epic. And of course, then we get to see Rey actually defeating Kylo, and I think that she killed Kylo Ren as a Sith, as the bad guy.
Yeah, she like killed Kylo, and then Ben came back out.
Yes. And how she healed his wound. And one thing I never noticed when I saw the movie until someone pointed out on Instagram, I think, is that she actually healed the scar on his face.
Yeah, he doesn't have that anymore either. Yeah, I didn't notice that either. I think it was like my second or third watch through that I realized that.
Yeah, one of the recent revisits I saw to the movie, I was like, oh yeah, that actually was true. Mm-hmm. But I never noticed that when I saw the movie. I never noticed that by myself until I saw that in a post.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, after that, we have Han Solo return.
That scene was dramatic for sure.
Yes, I still have my doubts, so I don't know if it was Kylo's kind of consciousness or if it was Leia or if
I think it was Leia doing because she doesn't die till he vanishes.
Until he disappeared.
Yeah, I think that was her force projecting one of Kylo's memories.
It makes sense because the lines are very much the same.
Yeah, it's a confusing scene because it's not really clear that she did that, But that's what I'm guessing that she did is she tapped into like Ben's brain and used an image from his memory to create Solo.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It was confusing because we didn't see him with the classic clear blue appearance of a Force Ghost as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But we get to see him very much like a live person, and then he just vanished away like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the fade away from when a Jedi dies. And then after that we get to see Leia dying. Oh, well, finally, actually dying now.
Right.
And it was... I learned later that Harrison Ford returned just because he was getting paid well for that role.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. That very much makes sense rather than him returning because of the character.
Oh yeah, dude. He doesn't care about Han Solo. He just wants the money.
Yes,
which is a very Han Solo thing to do, ironically.
Yes. Honestly, Han Solo really resembles a lot of Harrison Ford in many ways.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
They're both pilots as well.
Definitely.
And they both crashed many times.
So what did you think of Exegol and kind of like the final showdown between everybody?
Man, that is just amazing. I know ever since we get to see Exegol in the beginning,
mm-hmm.
The final sequence, that the Sith statues we see, one of them is Darth Nihilus, if I'm not wrong. So and I also know that the Sith orders, the red ones, the classic ones, are named after Sith lords, which kind of brought back a lot of what exists because there is now a Revan Legion.
Yeah, it brings back the canon. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we know that Revan is canon. We still don't know what part of him is canon. Probably just the name, who knows. But we know that probably the Old Republic could be canon because that doesn't really affect the current storyline. It's
Definitely.
way back in the past to actually alter something right now.
Yeah, it's thousands of years.
Yeah. Every time I look at that scene where Rey is going to Tron, gives me anxiety because I always look at her jumping that long in the I could definitely fall right there. I could have everything. I could not catch her. Yeah, I don't know why, but I always think of myself in that specific situation and I could die right there. Yeah. It's kind of cool to see both parts playing at the same time, and how Ray arrives in the Red 5.
Yeah,
X-Wing.
yeah, Luke's X-Wing, yeah.
It was cool to see, yeah. There were a lot of emotions there, and also the questions of what's going on with Palpatine returning. And I also found out that all of the chorists in his Hall thing are clones of him as well.
Right, yeah.
I still don't know why did he clone him so many times.
Maybe we'll get it one day, who knows?
Yeah. Well, maybe he's going to stay like this for the next 10 years as well. Until we get a sequel.
Oh
Yes.
man, I hope he stays dead. I hope he's well, 3 times or come back for the 3rd time. I think that I'm
Yes.
good. I'm good with that for sure.
Yeah. This could be renamed as the Palpatine saga,
Mhm.
Palpatine screwing up for generations in galaxies. Yeah. However, I think that for me my favorite part of the whole Exegol is the space aerial battle.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Since we get to see them just arriving and kind of planning to take down one single destroyer and failing, I think that the director's son his character got killed in one of the explosions. I don't know how he could have felt like, oh, so you're killing my character, you're killing me. That your parents killing you in the movie is kind of unsettling, probably.
Yeah.
I like how for the first time we actually get to see Poe being desesperated
Mhm.
in a movie, because he's actually he's losing hope. He for the first time doesn't have a plan. You can see the disconcerting of his face,
Yeah.
and how he says that it's over, and then you get to see Billy D. Williams' voice
It's like,
over the
there's
count.
more of us. Yeah,
Yeah, that was just so epic to listen,
for sure.
and with the classic background music playing again. And I was expecting to see something like the Trench Run or something, not expecting to see the so famous Galaxy Fleet. Of course, we saw that in the trailer, but I simply forgot about that in the movie. They was like, oh yes, this is that scene then. And there is where you could put one of those classic of, oh, so you're a Star Wars fan, name every ship in the Battle of X. I know that there are somewhere between 950 and 1,000 different ship models.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
They created God knows how many files from that movie. They didn't reuse even everything that existed, but they still created some, because of the creative team still has to do something, that kind of checks out for them.
For sure.
Some of the things that I actually noticed the first time I saw the movie was, well, of course, in Millennium Falcon, you had to see those medical frigates from the Clone Wars, the Ghost. I saw the Hammerhead corvettes.
Oh yeah, classics.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of classic ships in there. It was really cool.
I think that in the battle there are like 4 or 5 Ghosts. If I'm not
Really?
wrong. Yes.
Yeah, those are pretty common ships. I think that's like
Yes.
Solo makes a reference to that too, like the ship that Han Solo bets to Lando during the first Sabbat game.
It's a Ghost again.
That's the Ghost ship. Yeah.
Yes.
A VCX, I think, is what it's called.
Actually, the Millennium Falcon is also a very common ship. It's just a cargo ship without the cargo.
Yeah.
There are 3 of them in Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, so there probably were more than one Millennium Falcon, but we honestly didn't see because it's on the background at the bottom behind that ship that you only see for one frame.
Right.
I know there are Naboo and one Starfighters in there as well.
Yeah, dude. There's so many
Yes.
ships.
There is very much any ship, and I also remember that you get to see there was one of those Wookiee gunships that we see in Rebels.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yes, that resembles very much the Mandalorian Razor Crest.
Oh, okay.
And by the time that this came out, or the Mandalorian season 2 was never out, so many people were speculating, oh yes, Mandalorian absolutely went to hell there.
Yeah. Then the ship got blown to shreds.
Then season 2 happened. Oh yes, that's absolutely not the Razor Crest. Like,
yeah. Well, to put a bow on everything, if you had to pick one Star Wars movie to watch for the rest of your life, you can only pick one. They say it was like you're stranded on a desert island.
Okay.
What would be the one movie that you would pick to watch for the rest of your life?
Oh boy. There's a tough choice between. Actually, I have 4 places for this, which is Phantom Menace, Rogue One, Revenge of the Sith, and The Rise of Skywalker. I cannot.
Which one would you pick though? If you only have one, you only have one.
It honestly depends on my mood, but right now I would say Rogue One.
Okay. Cool.
Oh, just one little thing. If you could, well, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, this is the first. Yeah, ask me a question. Let's go.
If there was one thing that you could change out of Rise of Skywalker, one thing that you could remove, add, or modify from the film, what could it be?
Okay, so I know exactly what it would be. For me, it would be, instead of having all the, like at the end when she's getting talked to all the Jedi, I would have preferred them actually being there. Like Force ghosts, like I don't know if you've seen that edit where like all the Force ghosts are behind her, like somebody edited them in. Every time I see that scene, it gives me chills. And to me personally, I actually have 2. I'm gonna add another one after that, but but that would have been that's the main one. And honestly, I wish she would have built her lightsaber at the beginning of the movie.
Oh yes, that could be it could be more of her own movie, instead of just carrying the legacy of Luke and Anakin.
Because don't get me wrong, I think that's important. I think she should have still had that, but her lightsaber one is yellow, so that's cool as hell. She made it from her. She made it from her staff, and I just think it would have been cooler to kind of give her more of her own identity.
Yes, it could be more personal for her, and I think, but I'm not sure that the lightsaber can also change the color.
Yeah, well, when she lit it up, it turned from blue to yellow to green to yellow.
Yes. I mean, that could be a nice thing because I think it's the first time, aside from Visions, that we get to see a lightsaber changing color. And I agree with you about the Force Ghost. That's the only thing that I would change, aside from probably the adding music to the Death Star battle. But
that's another one for sure. Yeah, making it longer, making that fight scene longer. Like, give me like a Revenge of the Sith style fight scene between them two on the Death Star, and then put in some awesome music.
Yes,
I agree for sure.
Yes, even the same style of choreography without having too much parkour and stuff. Just adding a score to it would make it much more special,
For sure, yeah.
Well, the Force Ghost, I absolutely agree, because I honestly couldn't recognize all of the voices. When I heard that at first, I was, okay, I don't know who is this one. I know this is Ahsoka, I know this is Obi-Wan, obviously this is Yoda, but I couldn't recognize all of them at first. Until I had to listen it again. Okay, I know this is Kanan, I know this is Shakti. I don't know why they put Shakti instead of someone else, because she didn't really have that much dialogues in the movies. So it was kind of questionable decision. But I think Force Ghosts would be better if you ask me.
Especially because it gave more to the scene.
Yeah, especially because you have all of the cast alive still.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that could be probably the only thing that could have changed that actually changed the movie. Yes. Well, I think that's it.
I'm going to go real quick. We're going to do some Minoc minute questions where I just lob, because we're getting towards the 3-hour mark, and I'm going to try to keep it under 3 hours. So I'm going to lob you these questions real quick to see what you would be, it'd be like your favorite stuff in Star Wars. So if you had to be anybody in Star Wars, would you be a Jedi? Would you be a Sith? Would you be a Mandalorian? Who would you be if you were in Star Wars?
A Mandalorian.
You'd be a Mandalorian, okay.
Yes.
Would you, what time period would you want to be?
Probably the Republic, because I think that was kind of the most stable one that we get.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely the Republic, yes.
All right, cool. If you had to be trained by a Jedi or a Sith master, who would be your teacher?
I could choose a Jedi because that would not kill me straight away,
Right.
and probably Ahsoka. I guess.
Ahsoka. Okay.
I mean, I think she's the one that kind of relate most to what is it to be a Padawan because that's the stage she left at, and she knows what is it to be a normal person as well.
Okay. If you had to build your own custom lightsaber or / sabers or whatever, what would your lightsaber be, and what color / colors would they be depending on what saber you pick?
No, I did build a lightsaber once, so it's kinda, I didn't have original ideas back in then, but it was pretty much a mix of Obi-Wan's lightsaber, Luke's lightsaber, and Anakin's lightsaber.
So you would be a single blade user.
Yeah, because I know I could cut myself with a double blade lightsaber.
Okay.
However, I would not mind having a second pair just as Ahsoka.
Oh, so like a shorter one? How she has like the shorter?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, very
that's
much.
cool.
One for attack and one for defense sounds decent to me.
Okay. What colors would they be?
I would say some sort of cyan blue.
Ooh, so you're going with a little bit of a lighter blue?
Yeah, and a green lightsaber.
Okay, cool. If you had to pick one force power to bring into real life, what force power would you bring into real life?
Oh, I'm split between telekinesis and force tricks. The Jedi mind
Persuasion,
tricks.
yeah. Okay.
Yes, because telekinesis is practical in many ways, but telekinesis can help you with oh no, I messed up on this. Okay, you will forget what I just said. There's, kinda between those two. Honestly,
Okay.
Yes.
So we're gonna real quick build your force family. So you have to pick a mom, like who you would want your mom to be from the Star Wars universe, who you would want your dad to be from the Star Wars universe. You get to have a best friend and an enemy, and we'll start with your mom and dad.
Okay, that probably Obi-Wan.
Okay, solid pick.
Because, I think he did a decent job at raising Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
I think the fault that made him turn to the dark side was very much the council, not Obi-Wan's. So I would say that he does a decent parent figure.
Mm-hmm.
For mom, probably, I guess Padme, because that's the female character I saw the most in Star Wars. Either her or Ahsoka, I think both would do a nice job. Ahsoka raised Ezra and Kanan, so
Oh yeah, super wise. Has good mom energy for sure.
yeah, I think that could be one friend. Probably Ezra, I would say.
Ooh, okay. I haven't got
Yeah.
Ezra yet. That's cool.
Yeah, I think he's a cool person. He's kind of relatable of someone that is a normal human as well.
Okay.
And
cool.
one enemy. Okay, I don't know. That's a tough question.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad guys out there. So
Yes.
that's hard.
I could say probably not Boba because he could kill me easily. Embo is a badass as well. I really like him, but
Oh yeah, Embo's great.
way too overpowered for me. So I would probably say who knows? Maybe Django.
Okay, Django, right on. And the final Minoc Minute question that I'm going to ask you is, what is your favorite Star Wars planet, and what planet would you personally want to live on?
Oh, favorite? I think this one is one of the most popular, but I would say Naboo.
Ooh, okay.
Because I think it's a beautiful planet. It has. I don't know what happened to it after the Empire arrived, but as far as I know, it was still very much intact because of Vader's will to keep that part of his life. But I really like how content looked. It has, of course, a lot of dangerous creatures, but it has.
I think that's most planets, honestly.
yes, honestly, yes. Yes, to be honest, many planets have stuff that can kill you if they want. Well, this has waterfalls, it has these green fields, it has all of these forests and these nice cities that I think that based on it, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, I could say Naboo. It's a nice place to live.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that really wraps up the Minoc Minutes. I want to thank you for coming on, man, and talking to me. I think you're gonna hold the title for the longest podcast.
Thank you, and thanks for inviting me. Well, it's an honor for me that you consider me for this.
Oh yeah, of course, man, and I'd love to have you back on. I don't know. I think I'm gonna do a makers video. Where I just bring on a lot of people who do like 3D printing and armor builds and stuff like that, and just kind of talk about the trials and tribulations of like doing, cosplays and stuff like that. So I would love to have you on, because I know you built your Mandalorian armor. I don't know when that's going to be, but I'll definitely have you back on for that, and maybe I don't know, maybe we'll do. I'm debating on whether I want to do weekly podcasts about the Obi-Wan show. And just doing like reviews of each. I'm thinking I might do that, but if I do, I'd love to have you back on for it.
Oh yes, absolutely. I'm totally down for it.
Heck yeah. Is there anything you'd like to plug for the fans? You want to plug your Instagram or anything like that?
Oh well, my Instagram and very much every social media I just go by Rex Skyfighter, either with capital letter, without lower K, without lower bar, or I think on TikTok I am as the Rex Skyfighter.
Okay.
Or something like that. But yes, that's very much I go by Rex Skyfighter very much everywhere.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll also have everything linked down below. I'll have all your stuff so they can check it out. If you guys have made it this far in this video, I know this one was a lengthy one, so I appreciate you guys for watching. And as always, may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.